who also chairs the Buganda Parliamentary Caucus.
And our readiness to work with Right Honorable Jacob Olanya as Speaker of the 10th Parliament. Honorable Jacob Olanya has the experience that necessitates, that takes for a Speaker.
The team is dominated by new faces in Parliament, all of who belong to the NRM party. Chiwanda argued that there could not have been a better selection since 80% of members of the 9th Parliament lost elections.
He has made us through in the most difficult times of the 10th Parliament, of the 9th Parliament. We relied on him. And we hope, given more mandate, he'll be able to sail us through as an NRM party. Because we have the manifesto at hand that we must fulfill as a party. Because this is government that you entrusted with power.
Some of the members of Team Olanya include Geoffrey Chiwanda of Mityana North, who is the chairperson of the task force, Ibrahim Abiriga from Arua Municipality, Michael Tusime from Mbara Municipality, John Bosco Rubiai from Mawukoto South, Babire Chitio, the Youth Central MP, Asio Lemigio from Nakapiri Pirit, Juliet Chinyamatama from Rakai, Doreen Amule from Amulatad District, Patrick Kasumba from Bujenje County, then Oketayot Lowila, the Padere woman MP. Team Olanya is optimistic that at the end of their journey, the man will triumph over his current boss, Rebecca Kadaga, who is yet to officially unveil her team.
Who is up to task and equal to challenge it.
Honorable Olanya is too committed.
The Speaker of the 10th Parliament will be elected in late May after the new MPs are sworn in. More research all NTV.
Civil society organizations have implored President Museveni not to assent to the income tax amendment bill seeking to exempt members of parliament from paying taxes off their allowances. Speaking at a half-day dialogue organized to protest the MP's move here in Kampala, the Uganda Law Society President Francis Gimara said they had written to the President, denoting that the bill was discriminatory and unconstitutional.
These amendments be passed as an omnibus.
A coalition of civil societies in Uganda have launched their 5 million signature campaign to drum support, demanding the President does not put pen to paper on the income tax amendment bill, which exempts members of parliament from paying taxes on their allowances. The 5 million signatures will back up their petition, which they want to submit to the President next week.
On your way out,
both opposition and NRM legislators who were invited to attend the symposium did not turn up.
It is a very difficult thing to defend.
According to the President of Uganda Law Society, court had earlier ruled that legislators should pay taxes of their allowances. And without appealing the judge's decision in the Francis Byamjisha versus the Attorney General case, the legislators allegedly smuggled the bill into the House.
They would be the institution that should first allow the judiciary to determine their appeal, and then on the basis of the outcome we could then see what to do. But before their appeal would be determined on the merits, we are shocked, just like any other Ugandan, that they used their legislative power, to amend the law.
The Uganda Law Society has written to the President imploring him not to assent to the bill, outlining some of their areas of concern.
In our view, this is creating a category of citizens who would then be super citizens over and above other citizens. Now that creature of citizenry is unconstitutional, and certainly it amounts to discrimination.
Gimara was then tasked to provide legal advice on what options would be left on the table if the President assents to the bill.
We also have several options in our legal toolbox, which we will deploy at an appropriate time.
All right.
Kampala City Traders Association Kasita, represented on the panel, are vexed by the MP's latest move.
We should be cautious that what quality of MPs do we have? Because are these trading because they sell off their houses, they sell off their property, they go for loans in order to go to parliament?
Several speakers at the conference shared their displeasure with the MPs.
We civically educate them on that tax base so that the little will correct, that's not little, around 4 billion, I think, can be diverted to vermin control and agriculture, and we fight away bed bugs in houses.
Count for us losses. If these allowances had been taxed 5 years ago, so as to address the issue that
5 years ago?
5 years ago.
Why do you want us to get heart attacks?
We want
to
to
see all the money we have missed.
In order for us to act, we need to get annoyed.
Tomorrow, the judges are also going to say the same. The other day, the teachers, where is this country going to be?
Others also shared what they think would be the way out, even as the debate on the MPs' emoluments continues to swell.
Hopeful that the MPs will stop being politicians and they will become statesmen and stateswomen.
We want them to understand that for anybody who loves Uganda, be on the side of citizens, pay tax so that we can have our roads in Nakaseke, our roads in where.
When the bill goes to the president and he returns it to parliament 3 times without assenting to it, it can eventually become law. Critics say that the urge for parliamentarians to exempt themselves from paying taxes is too ingrained to change now. Now what will remain is the usual business. Use their legislative mandate to pass laws that are selfish in nature. Sudhir Biaruhanga, NTV.
The 8-member committee set up to investigate the standoff at Makerere Institute of Social Research between researcher Dr. Stella Nyanzi and head of the institute, Professor Mamdani, has hit the ground running. The committee, chaired by Professor Justin Bachibinga, is expected to submit its report by Friday, 22nd April, while the Appointments Board would pronounce itself on the matter on Monday, 25th April. The committee was instituted following a nude protest by Dr. Nyanzi against Mamdani's action of locking her out of office. Habadzwa with more.
On Monday, a fellow at the Makerere Institute of Social Research, Dr. Stella Nyanzi, undressed to her knickers, protesting the locking of her office.
Mahmoud Mamdani is accusing me, is alleging that I'm not doing my work.
Thereafter, Makerere University Vice-Chancellor Professor Dumba Sentamo promised to set up a committee, investigate the circumstances that led to that embarrassing incident.
We are dealing with a problem, and I think it will be okay. Our concern is that she doesn't want to teach on the PhD program, and she's saying that the letter of appointment was stating research fellow to be a research. But then we know that the director can always assign extra duties.
In a media statement released on Wednesday afternoon, Professor Dumba released the names of the 8-member committee and its terms of reference. The committee will be chaired by Professor David Justin Bachibinga, who is a professor of commercial law in the School of Law, Professor Joseph Y. Timugisha, professor of biomathematics and principal of the College of Natural Sciences, Associate Professor Julius Chikoma, Dean of the School of Psychology, and Associate Professor Christopher Mbazira, Coordinator of the Public Interest Law Clinic at the School of Law. Others are Dean of the School of Women and Gender Studies, Dr. Josephine Ahekire, Miss Naume Chichoncho, Legal Officer in the Makerere University Legal Directorate, Stock Chambers, Henry Nsubuga, Manager of the Makerere Counseling and Guidance Center, and Director of Human Resource, Mary K. Tezikara. The committee was given 8 terms of reference, including establishing the cause of the dramatic events of Monday when Dr. Stella Nyanzi stripped to her knickers, investigate the genesis of the disagreement between Dr. Nyanzi and the Executive Director of the Makerere Institute of Social Research, Professor Mahmoud Mamdan, and the extent to which they have been disrupting each other's mandate. Other grounds include ascertaining the working conditions at the Institute, establishing the assets at the Institute and their usage to staff and non-staff members, and establishing the reporting structure and assignment of duties to MISA staff members. In an interview with NTV, Professor Mamdan said he will not cooperate with the probe committee since Professor Dumba, who set it up, is conflicted as an uncle to Dr. Stella Nyanzi. He also wants Dr. Nyanzi transferred from MISA and the committee's terms of reference developed after consulting MISA management, staff and students.
Not willing to be complicit in it. If this process continues and if the university does not give visible indication that they are willing to support this program, I will resign.
The committee will present its report on Friday and thereafter the University Appointments Committee will pronounce itself on the findings on Monday, 25th April. Meanwhile, the University of Michigan, one of the funders of Makerere Institute of Social Research, has pledged to continue financing the institute despite the standoff and the striptease incident. Herbert Ziwa, NTV.
Hundreds of Ugandans are stranded at the Uganda-Kenya border in Busia after the Kenyan government denied entry to those who do not have yellow fever vaccination certificates. This after the Ugandan government confirmed the outbreak of yellow fever in Masaka. Now the Ministry of Health is advising travelers to get vaccinated before embarking on any trip out of the country. We have more in this report.
Several Ugandans traveling to Kenya were left stranded at the Busia border after the ban by the Kenyan government on travelers without yellow fever vaccination certificates took effect.
Call it East African Community, but I don't see anything that is reflecting in unity. We are actually castigating division if things are done untimely without giving any information before time.
Batwagaza kadi za yellow fever tebatugambirawo tutuse waneno tulinga bibiri basi zonna zituyiye waneno.
On reaching the Kenyan side, Ugandans were not allowed to continue, but the Kenyans were allowed to continue into Kenya. When asked why, they said you don't have yellow card.
The rather abrupt ban on Ugandans and nationals from Angola from entering Kenya comes days after the Ministry of Health confirmed a yellow fever outbreak in Masaka.
And we are also among those countries that are endemic for yellow fever. So are other parts of Kenya. Stopping people without yellow fever cards at the borders, is, for example, at Busia, is being done in relation to the international health regulations.
Majority of those denied entry were business people who feel the Kenyan government should have given notice to travelers.
Kusande nze nali wano nga nve Kenya ngenda Uganda nayitawo sina document yonna gye nalaba eraga nti twetaaga kukola ki twetaaga bukaadi zoobwo naye olw'okuba ate ntuuse olwaleero ne bagamba nti gundi yefulumye leero saawa ezo.
Earlier on, as Ministry of Health, we gave out an appeal to all people traveling out of the country to ensure that they are vaccinated against yellow fever.
If it was yellow card, I think as a nation we should have been able to sensitize the citizens. We should give time to the citizens to prepare.
Previously, Ugandans traveling to Kenya did not require these certificates to cross borders. Tanzania has, however, been strict on non-natives from other countries without this certificate. By 10 a.m. this morning, some of the frustrated travelers were still stranded at the border.
I was wondering, first of all, why is this one is not making sense? A Kenyan was in Uganda and is allowed to enter without a yellow card. A Ugandan doesn't have a yellow card, is not allowed to enter. Because when you say yellow card, I know we are going to transfer disease from Uganda to Kenya.
So it is important for you, it is for your own safety that you're vaccinated against yellow fever.
Government yali baddenga eteekawo wano amalwaliro okumpi ku boda kati senga batukuba empiso ne tuyingira buyingizi.
Yellow fever is a viral hemorrhagic disease transmitted by mosquitoes and is highly fatal. It can, however, be prevented by taking a vaccination.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Safety, comfort, and relief make a good life. Nurembe Villas Chico.
To strip or not to strip in order to get hard? Well, one thing is for sure that Makerere is doing so much. I can't imagine a committee being set up that will have its findings in by Friday. Well, to the gentlemen now to let us know what is happening in the newspapers and if they know of any other way that this lady probably would have gotten Makerere or the publicity it has received in these last few days. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning, Mabel. It looks like Nyanzi's antics are going beyond borders. we hear that even in South Africa, students of a university protested nude, well, half nude. Good morning, Joel.
You know, for some reason I'm getting increasingly sick of hearing this name in the papers. You see, this is what this woman wants. That we keep talking about her, that we keep, you know, somehow that...
You want to talk about it, but the focus of this is the rot at Miser. That's what we should be looking at.
First of all, we don't know that there's a rot. Let the committee tell us. But here is the thing. And this is Joel's opinion. You see, an investigative team has been put in place. It's an 8-member team, I understand. Now, if I were the vice-chancellor or if I had powers over that university, number one, I would fire this woman called Stella Nyanzi.
But that's why you're not the vice-chancellor.
That's why I'm saying if I were,
but
I'm not.
But you see, Joel, you don't fire people just
Here
like
is
that.
why, but I was going to tell you why.
Why?
Actually, before even understanding, it's actually possible that this woman's rights were violated. But you see, she has broken every law there could be. You know, going nude all over the place, but even then hurling insults at the university, at her boss. You see, our boss here, thank God she's a good lady, Agia Simwekonde. If she violated my rights for whatever reason, and then I came here and, you know, go nude, and then I hurl insults at her, the board, even before investigating whether or not my rights were violated, should first fire me because I have behaved irresponsibly. And thereafter, you get to investigate. Because truth be told, there could be issues because we've heard from several other people. And this man, this gentleman, Professor Mamdani, should not say I cannot cooperate with this. By the way, even if he chooses not to cooperate, they should still investigate him. So, because it is actually very possible that he's roughshoding over people there, that there are issues. That's true. And maybe this is a Pandora's box that has been opened. So thereafter, you begin to investigate. But the other one, she actually has no right of recourse because she has broken every rule there is. Get her out of the way. Let's investigate.
Shouldn't we be direct in this conversation? And yesterday I told you and Simon, that you see, for you, you cannot talk about this without talking about the nudity. And for me, that's what is sad. Let's separate the conversation. Whatever happened, happened. Now, let's focus on one, labor laws. Number two, what is going on at this research institute. Yes, there have been successes. We need to get as many researchers as possible. Makerere needs to up its game. Let's focus on that while the committee does its job. But the more we talk about nudity, the more you don't want to hear about Dr. Stella Nyanzi and nudity. No, let's look at what happened before the nudity. And let's focus on that. And hopefully the committee will focus on that.
If you are very attentive, actually, that is exactly what I'm talking about.
But you see, you get disturbed when you talk about Nyanzi.
No, because you see, we are giving it to her. But anyway, here is the point.
Her nudity. You don't talk about
why, is there, but also the
according to what she says, for 6 years,
there's the code of
failed
conduct
to get audience because she says that the system protects her. And that's what happens at different workplaces where the management does not protect, keeps protecting a particular person, even when they are unfair. They keep doing all these things to different people at the workplace. And for me, I want us to elevate the conversation to that place. Not talk about Stella, what she did.
Brian, you were not attentive as I spoke. The point I'm making is, actually, for those very issues, that's why there should be an investigation. And that's why Professor Mamdani
shouldn't be offended when we mention the name Stella Nyanzi.
No, for some reason, it's actually beginning to sicken me. But anyhow, you see, this man, this gentleman should be investigated too. I don't know why he doesn't want to subject himself to an investigation.
Maybe because he knows he's guilty.
That's okay. But you see, I'm saying, regardless of whether or not he wants to be investigated, he's not the boss of that university. He should be investigated. However, I am saying, a person like Stella Nyanzi, for her, she has already crossed the red line. That's the truth. There's a code of conduct for Makerere. I read out for you the issues therein. And I'm using the example of, let's imagine my rights have been violated here at NTV, even if it's by the MD. I come here on one of those mornings and I cause mayhem here, abuse everybody and so on.
Maybe that's the only way you'll get heard.
But you see, I'm doing it the wrong way. I've broken the code of conduct.
When you've done everything by the book for such a long time.
Then you appeal to...
Appeal where?
To the board in this case, in the case of us.
Joel Senye, are you mad?
No, I'm not.
I think you are.
Why?
I think you are. You know that if who will let you go to the board?
I don't. But you see, we've got their email addresses. So I go nude just because I cannot appeal to the board. And then I abuse everybody. I abuse the MD. I abuse this company.
That's the way you
because
get
I cannot.
Heard. For me, I'm all for doing whatever you have to do.
No, but you see,
to get heard.
There are things to do and there are things not to do, surely. You cannot say, I'll do whatever I want to do just because I want justice. Really?
Well, that is debatable, but there's a committee. It's supposed to release those findings tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? They have 2 days?
Friday, yes. They're giving up to 22nd Friday, and then the administrative council will report on Monday what they are going to do for these two. But today there's an interesting report, and please watch NTV tonight. There's an extensive report on what has been happening at MISA from students who say they were blocked from joining.
Yeah, and all those are things that should come up.
From Mamdani's replies to these people and why he thinks, this happened, on what needs
So you see why there's need for an investigation. But you see, for me, really, my stand is, even as this investigation goes on, somebody who has crossed the line, and that's why I keep using the analogy of my rights have been violated here at NTV, if that gets to be the case, but I come here and I hurl insults at everybody.
Why does the violator get to have his cake?
Who?
Me who is
No, he shouldn't. That's why I'm saying there should be an investigation. So again, using this analogy, for me, for crossing the red line, I should get fired. And thereafter, we begin to investigate, because I might have real issues that actually my rights were violated.
You don't fire the violator.
No, we are not firing her for being violated.
No,
we are firing her.
The violated in this case is Stella Nyanzi. The violator is Mamdan.
And if we prove that he has been violating, he should be fired too.
Why do you wait to first find out?
Because we
you
don't
fire
know.
both, okay.
No.
Then you see,
or
suspend both of them.
That's another possibility. But you see, the other one has crossed the red line. It is clear there's evidence. This one, we need to get the evidence.
The red line is relative. Other people...
Of hurling insults at everybody. That's the red line for me. So for this one, we don't know. That's why we should investigate. For this Nyanzi woman, we know. It's everywhere, is it not?
Well, read about this in the New Vision here, as Professor Mamdan also spills the beans on the row with the Vice-Chancellor. He says that given that the Vice-Chancellor is related to Dr. Stella Nyanzi, he is likely not to have this going. He says that Dumba snatched his assistant.
Professor Barra here in the Daily Monitor says Mamdan is right on Nyanzi because he was at the university and saw a bit of these happenings. Moving on away from this, I think I want to make a vow.
Dr. Nyanzi.
Yeah, that's what I want to, because
for me, I don't know why you get disturbed. And you get disturbed because you have failed to separate the nudity from what's happening.
Unfortunately, you can't separate it.
You can.
No. Because you see, even when I have a case to put through, there are ways to, push through an issue.
Joel Senyoni, you can separate it. Okay?
I don't know that.
That's why I'm telling you, yes, Nyanzi did whatever she did, but
and
now,
we should investigate, because it's actually possible her rights were violated.
What we are talking about now, there's a committee. The committee is not going to investigate nudity.
Why shouldn't it? There's a code of conduct for staff at Makerere.
Joel.
And the hiring of insults.
I'm sure that is the list. That's a foregone conclusion. Joel, come on. I tell what
Machar no show, top summit agenda. No, I'm tired of this woman of yours.
If you beat people.
Let's move on here. Olanya tells Kadaga to accept succession.
You need to have
this is what Kadaga did say when she was contacted for, for a bite, we call them here, to have a say on this whole issue. She says, I'm a busy person. I'm preparing to go to the house. I do not want to talk about stupid things, please. I don't know what's wrong with what's becoming to women in this country.
But isn't that the stupid thing?
What is stupid? Olanya is a stupid one now. That's what she's insinuating here. No, I've read for you here. I've quoted her. I'm a busy. They asked her to comment on because you see, Olanya yesterday set up a committee, to push through his speakership and the like, and and so when the good speaker Kadaga was conducted, she says, "I'm a busy person. I'm preparing to go to the house. I do not want to talk about stupid things, please." You see, and again, you're going to tell me I should separate this from her running for speaker. This lady is I think she's a good lady. The little I know about her, I don't know much besides what I've read. I've interviewed her before. And when she became Speaker of Parliament, you could see she was beginning to put in place some plausible changes here and there. Along the way, some people think she's dropped the ball. But you see, you cannot separate a person from their character. So when you're pushed to, let me give you this analogy. You see, when you get an orange and you squeeze it so hard, you beat it to pulp, and the juice that comes out of this orange is bitter. That orange is not bitter, the juice is not bitter because you've squeezed the orange so bad. It's because that's what was on the inside there. In other words, adversity does not form character. It reveals character. When you're pushed to the wall, the way you behave
is a bad person.
I don't know even whether to use the word bad. I'm actually trying to understand her a lot more now.
But
because she's come out to say very many things.
Each one of us has this element somewhere.
And exactly, that's actually, you see, you get to know the man or the woman when they are pushed to the wall. That's when it's easy to, think Brian Mulondo is good when everything is moving on all right, but when adversity comes your way, that's when you get to understand who is this man. How does he handle pressure? How does he...
Those are cliches.
No, but that's the truth. Because you see, if, for example, when you were looking for a wife to marry, thank God you married a good lady, but I'm sure the few girls that you dated, you go on a date, you're all happy and she's all nice, and stuff like that. Then adversity creeps in. Let's say somebody annoys her. You're at a date and then this waiter comes and unfortunately, by mistake, spills soup on her. And then she cuts a wire and she probably slaps this guy. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, all the while this lady has always been nice until adversity sets in. Then you get to understand who is this person. You actually forget about, even if it's been 6 months of niceness, that seemingly simple act. This guy's by mistake poured soup on her.
Based on what Kadaga has been saying in the past, would you trust her with the speakership?
As Joel Senyonyi, well, I don't vote in that parliament. I'm not an MP.
Would you?
No.
Police probe bank over Russian fraud. The New Vision is carrying a story. It says that 2013 a financial crime survey indicates that real-time gross settlement systems and electronic funds transfer fraud were emerging as vulnerable channels targeted by fraudsters. And of course, that's one of the things that also Joel is involved when 20 billion?
Joel is involved in, what do I say?
No.
What do I say?
You'd not even steal 50 shillings.
So what exactly are you saying? I didn't
when 20 billion shillings was taken from Bank of Uganda without any paper trail, and people say that
20 billion.
How much was it?
200 billion.
And they say that this is what they do. They hack into the system and are able to get money from not just Bank of Uganda, but from these banks. I actually know someone who was fired from one of the banks because he was in the IT department and stole money. I think he's now in jail. His bank took him to jail. Another lady who literally held the keys to the safe for one of the banks and stole money from this bank, and she had to go and serve.
I remember that case.
Yeah.
But you see, we are talking about hacking and stuff like that. In 2011, Bank of Uganda was raided. It's in the open. You had the governor, Tumusime Mtevide, coming through. I don't know why we saw, 200 billion shillings, hacked into the system and stuff like that. The other one was in broad daylight. We know who did it. We know when they did it. We know how much they took. And we are here, pretty foggy.
Minister orders FM radios to give government free airtime. Where did you dig? Sure. Like my friend says, Mwari Miewa. You need to pay for this airtime.
Actually, anyway, according to the UCC rules, there's not just radio stations, but TVs as well. They've got to allocate a certain portion of their time to government for their programs and the like. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you see, now we are saying, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. There's a public broadcaster in this country. I worked there for a while. It gives 120% of their time to government. Now, as a public broadcaster, you're supposed to give to everybody. So I would like to hear this minister here. But where does that happen,
where government and, say, the opposition get equal share on a public broadcast?
But that's what it should be.
Where does it happen in the world?
Let's even forget about where it happens. Let's talk about what...
No, we are now, let's talk reality. Let's talk reality. Where does it happen in the world?
I need to do a bit of digging up. If I'm to give you, good figures, I like to talk with facts and figures.
We saw what KBC did. members are whistling in Parliament, and they only showed one side.
No, it's actually not KBC. It's you see, the footage you get from Parliament, let's say if it is live, it is not our cameras. It is Parliament's media team. You see, and so of course to protect the institution, there are things they show you, there are things they don't show you. If PPU is recording, you know, a function for the president, when the president does this, they will not show that out of respect, you know, for and that kind of thing. But you see, me, I'm looking at what should be the case. So if this, who is that? This is Professor Kabwejere. That's the man who told people in Eastern Uganda who were starving some time back to go and eat mangoes. What is he talking about? Anyway, if he's telling private radio stations and TV stations to do that, which by the way is right according to the law, he should be telling the UBCs of this world to do the same to everybody. Otherwise, what he's saying is useless, totally.
Well, I don't know if this is useless, Joel, but Sorority Flying School gets a digital plane.
You see that Sorority Flying School has had a couple of issues. Not long ago, the students went on strike for several things. There's no equipment, their lecturers are not teaching them, and so on. It's got issues. I don't know if that will remedy the issues.
It is hopefully the wild migration from analog to digital, so that's what they are also.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Hopefully the other issues that flying school gets sorted out.
And with the Entebbe International Airport going to be expanded next year, you know, I think we'll... You don't look like you... what's wrong with you, you doubting Thomas?
And unfortunately, you can't blame me for being a doubting Thomas. Some of us have gotten to a point in this country where we shall only believe by seeing. Now, that's an unfortunate place for citizens to get to, because they don't trust the leaders anymore. They've told many lies. They've promised things that they never fulfill. So when you promise me something else, until you do, I'll not believe.
What happens to hope and faith? You believe that what is being set out is going to be done.
You see, I have faith and hope in my God. You know why? He has a track record of fulfilling what he promises. If you don't have a track record of fulfilling your promises, why should I hope and have faith in you? If you keep promising your wife, let's say what, you're going to take her to this beautiful place, I don't know what her favorite destination is.
You're using the wrong example.
No, it is. It will sink. You keep promising her the same thing year in, year out. You know?
We are saving, and when we get the money,
so you want me to live beyond my means. No.
You want Uganda to say, oh,
no, that's different.
Build,
actually, what you're doing is right.
Build an airport, but we don't have the money. So let's go and borrow as much as we can so that we impress the Jones.
How much are we spending on this?
When we have the money, we spend.
How much are we
For
spending?
example, when we've gotten the money from Mulago Hospital, we are now doing that job. So you're the one who keeps saying we need to cut our coat according to our cloth. Now we have the cloth. Can't we say, okay, 2017, let's wait?
You're talking about the example of your wife, and you're saying you're now saving and so on. Now that makes sense. That's a good thing. In fact, now you can show her ocular evidence that, by the way, babe, I am actually working towards fulfilling this. You know, so that makes a lot of sense.
It is the same. Government has saved for the or borrowed or whatever it has done, and now they are ready to expand this. Someone says it, someone's compound into a real airport. People who fly frequently say that when you're descending, it looks like Uganda hired someone's house as an airport. But now we are able. We saw the 3D illustrations the other day. Shouldn't you just be hopeful? That's good news.
It is good news. It will be better news when I see these things happening. Because there's so many things there's so many projects that we have begun and to date. The Rift Valley, not the Rift Valley Railway, forget about that one. In fact, that one needs to, I don't know, go where. But the standard gauge railway. We signed the MOU with Kenya in 2009. Do you know that Kenya has moved miles away? Have we begun yet? He's just the Karuma projects and all these things, you know, ambitious projects that we embarked on. You know, we keep having issue after issue with this project and so on.
But that does not remove the fact that we have shown the willingness to do these things. Yes, you have thieves, and we've talked about these thieves who are in the Karuma project, and I've always said that all this nonsense that is going on here, the president is suspending these people. You have thieves who have failed to share the loot, and we are the victims, unfortunately. So, but that does not remove the fact that government was willing to say, let's build Karuma. you know, the willingness is there, and they've showed that. It's just that some thieves have gone on to steal the money.
You see, if every human being was to be judged based on their willingness to do things, we would all be awesome.
You have to at least give me that.
Do you know there are people who would be willing not to cheat on their wives? There are people who would be willing not to steal, but they steal. There are people who would be willing to do their job right. You know, they want to. But you see, when you eventually don't, your willingness is absolute flapdoodle.
Okay, what's our
quote? So for me, I believe when I see.
What's our quote of the day? We need to wrap
Quote of the day, this is made by former FDC presidential candidate Kizza Besigye in the recent elections. He says, in all the barracks we won. It's now a coup. This time they stole an elephant and have failed to hide it. And in the opinion section, Kalinaki writes and says, in seeking tax exemptions, MPs are adding insult to injured taxpayers. Another person writes and says, Makerere should reform its dispute resolution system. Carol Isemogede writes, tethered to that, Makerere University is still stuck in the past. And the editorial of the Daily Monitor, why our schools are on death row.
Why do we seem to be offended by members of parliament not wanting taxes on their allowances? I don't understand that. They pay tax on their basic salary. And we know that. Why do they tax, for example, if you drive from here, if you're supposed to go to Mbarara, and NTV tells you it will cost you maybe 700,000 shillings. And that's what it costs to fuel the car. But NTV taxes that 700,000 and you get 500. Will you reach Mbarara?
No, actually you're mixing up a couple of things. We get each of us gets a consolidated salary. Everything is there in. However, there are those one-offs of sometimes, let's say, you know, there can be so many stories happening around, and so this car's gone there. We have several cars here, but sometimes we are stretched as well. So a reporter is told, those that have cars, you know what, you use your car if you can to go cover this story. We'll give you money. But those are one-offs. We're talking about a consolidated package that has everything: your basic salary, your transport allowance, your everything. That's why it's called a consolidated. So what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. You know, the challenge here is these MPs don't want to pay taxes on that consolidated amount, but you see, they don't want to pay taxes on that my tax. You know that their salary comes out of my tax. So I'm thinking, it's not a very fair thing. No, it's actually not fair at all.
No, you're complaining because, so if I'm privileged, I should not be like everyone. No one taxes your allowance, even if it's one-off. No one taxes it. You demand.
That's a one-off. That's different from a consolidated pay, which is regular. It is the same. These one-offs are exactly the word one-offs. They happen once in a while. Sometimes they don't happen at all. We are talking about something that is consistent as a salary, a consolidated one. And you're saying MPs are privileged? Yeah, but they're privileged by breaking my back. That's where the unfairness comes in. So if me, who does not earn as much as MPs do, I pay my tax on everything, why shouldn't the MPs do?
But MPs are taxed on their consolidated.
No, on their basic. Yes, and I'm saying...
And that's what you're taxed.
No.
You pay tax on your salary, Joel. Do you pay tax on your fuel allowance?
Yes, because it's part of actually
if you get salary. A car from here
that's
to Nakati,
a one-off. Why are these things difficult?
If it happens. No, I just think that we are being very unfair when we say these things. Because I don't want my allowance to be taxed. Why do I expect the MP to say it's okay?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you get a regular transport allowance, or it happens only when, say, they've asked you to use your car? Do you get a regular allowance?
They've asked me, but if it's oh, Joel, imagine that the MP was visiting his place once a week.
It's regular. That's what is expected, actually. That
I think we're just being hypocrites. We expect...
No, but you see, do you know actually why for me I insist on this? Because it's my money. If that wasn't my money, the money that these guys earn, I would not mind. That's the point. And that's why, for example, I get apoplectic when, I don't know, I'm told that the president is getting a supplementary because he used the other money to, you know, campaign around. That's my money.
But he paid that money to you people who keep begging.
To me? How much did he give me?
Oh, he paid you 5,000 shillings, isn't it?
So you see, actually it's insulting when you call me a hypocrite because it's my money. I should determine.
Joel, how much tax do you pay?
By the way, even if it's 2,000 shillings.
Oh, keep quiet, Joel. People in developed countries, yes, they pay a lot of tax, and you see that.
They get services.
But Joel, what you pay doesn't. How much? Okay, how many people in Uganda pay taxes?
Everybody. There are direct and indirect taxes.
Stop this.
If they are not
when
a
you
big
pay
deal,
tax on a kilogram of
so why don't they scrap it
1,500
if it's
shillings?
irrelevant? If it's nothing, why don't they scrap it?
Joel.
Why doesn't government stop begging for it? If it's nothing, why don't they stop?
This conversation needs to go online.
Otherwise, it's important. If it's
not,
not, they would not be bothering us for it. They would stop taxing all those commodities, remove all these duties, VAT and so on. If it was nothing, like you say.
We have to wrap this up, Joel. This conversation is not yet done. You don't pay a lot of tax.
It doesn't
so
matter.
You need to keep
exactly.
quiet.
Now, you see, everybody pays their small portion. That's why even those guys...
Mabel, away from taxes here, obviously to a country that does not exempt anyone, and that seems to be the use. In fact, they want the rich people to pay more. Hey, first wait. Joel, first read this before we go to Mabel.
One.
This.
She gave my jacket to the man she was cheating on me with. That's in the Heart to Heart magazine. I don't love her, but she's stuck at my house.
Mabel.
Then I see here, secret admirer, the case of stalking men for love. Hey, let's not even go there.
Grab a copy of the Daily Monitor, the New Vision. Get to know what's happening in the papers there. A reminder that, of course, we shall be broadcasting the interview of Professor Mamdan with NTV. Go to our YouTube channel and get to know.
You didn't show that one last night, part 2? I didn't watch it.
We showed it. We showed it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
We will be doing a repeat of it
yes,
at 1.
We'll be doing a repeat of that.
Is there a part 3?
At 1 o'clock. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Well, it was a 2-hour-long interview, so I guess we'll be letting you know, be updating you on those details. Mabel, with the international news.
Thank you very much, Brian. Well, we'll start in Mexico, where a massive explosion has rocked a major petrochemical facility, killing 3. Hundreds of people have been evacuated from the site. What caused the blast is not clear. On to Zambia now. 2 have been burned alive in Lusaka. This is a big story here in Africa happening. The riot started after rumors that Rwandans were behind recent ritual killings in the city. The two who were Zambian nationals killed in the confusion, according to the Home Affairs Minister. More than 250 people have been arrested. And on to South Africa, a number of students have been arrested at South Africa's Rhodes University following protests that allegations of rape on campus are not taken seriously. Police have used pepper spray and stun guns on the 3rd day of protests to try to disperse students, some of whom demonstrated topless on Tuesday, as Brian said earlier. And on to Al Jazeera here. The United Nations says it is deeply concerned about the fate of the newly displaced as government continues offensive against rebels. And something that probably is not going to do anything for the Iran-US relationship, funds over 2 billion in frozen Iranian assets are to be given to the families of victims of the 1983 Beirut bombing. And this is money that was on a Citibank account in New York, and the Supreme Court has ruled that the money will not go back to Iran. And again here, what do you do when you find that you're in a relationship but it's increasingly clear that your partner doesn't share your values or many of your interests? Well, that's where the US find themselves with Saudi Arabia. And yeah, we'll see how this relationship will play out. Still on CNN, people who are alone are at a greater risk of heart disease, actually 29% higher. You stand a higher chance of getting heart disease, and 32% risk of getting a stroke compared to those who are well connected. And we'll talk here about a certain family here that were given refugee status in Rome. They are meeting the Pope here. This is a Syrian family that had to leave the camp, and they're grateful to be in Rome. The papal blessing has brought new life to many Syrian refugees. And this picture here is of a lady who turns 90 today, Queen Elizabeth. Picture here, more portraits being released by Buckingham Palace. Here she is with her great grandchildren, they're about 5, and with her daughter and her 3 corgis there. Lots of celebrations will be taking place across England today. Morning at NTV will continue right after this break.
watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
I use the 500 shillings daily bundle. I use the monthly bundle with 1 GB data.
Wait! AfriCell has all internet bundles.
Really?
Yes, all internet bundles from 10 MB to 100 GB from 1 hour to 1 year on the widest coverage at the cheapest price ever.
Wow! Dial *133# now and select the bundle you need with the fastest speed and the best quality.
So AfriCell is really the king of the bundles.
Isa yalagula Yesu ngali je mabega akali mu
Yesu
bufunzi
ne Isa ani yasookawo munne
Isa
buli lwotayogera na muntu kutegeera bimukwata kutosobola kumutegeera yenna tekisoboka
era edako yakatugamba nti Abaganda mbwanyala jakasukira eggumba gyegenda kala kagamba akukano
obote wateekwa okubaawo eddoboozi abantu lye bakozesa eddoboozi abantu lye bakozesa okutuusa okunnyonnyola kwabwe okutegeerekeka okutangaza bye bakwatako naye nga waka mubimuyita waka mwamuyitanga mutya big daddy kuwuliriza kufumiitiriza kukola kwogera bina
tuwaye
bwe yamala okutuula ngenda okutunula mu kibatu kyange kino kyentaddeko bwendi nga muvaamu ebiwuka by'ensolosozi
ebimu byewuunyisa binakuwaza ebirala bikyusa obulamu
omuntu atasomye atya n'okuyingira ofiisi naye ng'omanyi nti onnina omukyala n'abaana awaka nakinkola nina ne bizinesi naye ntya n'okuyingira ofiisi eno okwennyonnyolako
eddoboozi lye njogerako tuwaye
You can now become an exclusive MTV reporter on the go. With the NTV Go mobile app, you can create news by capturing and sharing content instantly. Simply download the NTV Go app on Google Play Store. Go to the N Reporter feature and start reporting as the news happens. We will air your story on a special TV program. NTV Go also allows you to watch news, instant live updates, and follow your favorite show from the comfort of your home, taxi, or your favorite kafunda. Download NTV Go app now from Play Store.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185#.
Called Kopsinga Jasmine from Nigeria. I'm a senior 6 vacist and I'm doing a job per now. I'm a photographer by profession. I dialed *185# to enter the draw. I would buy airtime using *185#. Like if I have money on my account, I would dial *185# and then activate MBs. I want to thank Airtel for this offer actually. I can't even believe all this is mine.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Who's there? How'd this get here?
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
The story of Chris Mubiru made quite a bit of news some time back. That was when there were allegations of him sodomizing some young children. He was Crane's manager, I believe, and then SC Villa, something of the sort. And then, boom, off to the news he got to be. He was taken to court, and then the Buganda Road Magistrates Court did rule that he was guilty and he was sentenced. But then they went to High Court, his lawyers did, and the other day, the man was acquitted. So this morning we wanted to understand, really not digging out about this case, because I am not a lawyer, my guest is not, but the issues surrounding this, but also the broader picture of this kind of happening in this our country. That's coming up on The Big Story. Mr. Solomon Male, he's been a part of this struggle for quite a bit of time. Good morning.
Morning to you. I actually spearheaded the fight.
You did?
Not merely being part of the struggle, but I initiated, I spearheaded, and I still lead it.
And
The
what has
struggle
this
against
been like for you?
homosexuality, pedophilia, sexual abuses.
Do you feel you're making headway in this your struggle, or is it a head-banging project? Not much fruit
In every
from it?
struggle, you've got to be prepared for steps ahead and for, of course, some steps backward. But generally, it is a progressive struggle where we have moved from not being understood, not being heard, to at least casting a doubt on these people called homosexuals and their practice. And we've succeeded, although we had succeeded getting Mubiru in, he is out, but there are many others who are in because of our struggle.
All right, talking
and
about
of course
Mubiru,
we are appealing.
You're appealing.
Yeah.
All right, we just want to take a quick look at this story. This is the story we ran when this man was acquitted. Take a look.
All of you. There, there.
Much obeyed by law, having the canon is criminal appeal number 108 of 2015, Christopher Mubiru Singiri versus miscellaneous criminal application number 2016, versus.
It is very sad that the High Court, with all its prudence, can interpret the evidence negatively and acquit that man. We are going to sit with the prosecutor, the DPP, and see how to proceed, because I feel we need to appeal his release. He does not fit in society when he commits such criminal acts on young boys.
I think the judge gave a very brilliant judgment, a very well-reasoned judgment. Really, you cannot say you got a crow form in someone's house 4 years down the road, and the trial magistrate says it's the crow form that was used.
There you are, after Justice Musalu Musene let free Chris Mubiru. Pastor Male, some have objected this judge and said, wait a minute, Justice. There was overwhelming evidence, there were videos, there were all these images splashed in the newspapers. Surely that would have been evidence to use. But then again, others will say, look, you see in court, it's not about emotion or what people hear out there and the like, it is the evidence presented in court. And so there are those that feel maybe the judge is being unfairly hounded. Prosecution did not adduce the evidence. It could have been there, it should have been there. Everybody got to see it, but they didn't adduce it as well in court as well as they should have.
The case was raised by Emmanuel Nyanzi, who was 17 years at the time he was sodomized by Chris Mubiru. This boy met Chris Mubiru at Matayo's bar and restaurant, Parliament Avenue. Chris Mubiru offered to pay his tuition. He had been sent away from home. You know, these young boys usually misbehave and then they are banished from home. So he had been sent away from his home, from his parental home, and he was living with an unequally teenage friend. So when he goes to Chris Mubiru's home, on promise that he is going to be introduced to Mubiru's family, and then Mubiru takes him on as one of the boys he supports to study. When he goes, he expected a party to be there, which Mubiru had promised. The party never took place.
A welcoming party or?
A family party, so that Mubiru could introduce this boy to his family. When the boy goes, the party is not there. All he finds Mubiru alone, and he tells him, no, the party is over, you came late, but let's just have a drink, probably have a drink, then we join the group at the beach. And that's what the boy did. So Mubiru gave him some wine, When he took it, he never woke up. By the time he woke up, he had pain in the anal area. Blood was coming out. He thought, he didn't know what had happened to him. He feared to ask Chris. When he told him that he had pain in the anal area, Chris told him, you boys have problems, you go and wash. So he went and washed. But the pains intensified and blood continued coming out. So he goes, after leaving Chris's home, he gave him actually 50,000. Then he goes and sees a physician around Kajansi area. When he goes to the physician or the doctor examines him because he wanted to get some painkillers. And he told him, you seem to have been sodomized. You have been sodomized. So the boy is so furious. He goes back to Chris's home. This is a 17-year-old boy. Knocks at the gate. Chris comes out and then he tells him, you man, you've sodomized me. Chris is furious. He tells him, go away, I'll call the police. So the boy runs away. He tells his young friend, teenage friend. He chooses to keep silent because he believes no one is going to believe him. He's a teenage boy. He fears to speak about it because it's shameful. It is only 3 years down the road. That happened in 2009. 3 years down the road.
In 2012.
2012. Then the media is awash with Chris Mubiru. This
with
boy
other
hears,
boys now?
Not with other boys. Videos, live videos. So this boy hears me on radio and he says, no, I think I need to approach Pastor Male. He comes to me, not that he wanted me to help him to get Chris Mubiru arrested. He wanted me to help him to kill Chris Mubiru. Because he hears me, he was hearing me, public figure, he knew I had
Wait, did he
connections.
come to you to aid his killing of Chris Mubiru and not, I don't know.
I believe it's God's plan, because had he not come to me, probably Chris Mubiru would be done by now. Because there are so many boys he has had. And these boys have none to turn to. And when some try to come out, like in 2004, he goes to police, causes their arrest.
Isn't it a case of Chris Mubiru's word against this young boy? You called him
No, Emmanuel Nyanzi.
Nyanzi. Oh.
So what happened? When he comes to me for counseling, when he comes to me with that mind, I counseled him and told him, no, there is still another better way. And that is the justice system. Although the justice system had disappointed us in the Pastor Kayanja Sodome saga, I still believe there could be some sane people within the justice system to help us so that this boy gets justice and at least divert him from what he was intending to do, that was to kill. So after counseling him, I referred him to Chibuli. There's a sexual offenses division. They handled him. They examined him medically and found that there were signs, evidence of anal penetration. He still had pains in the anal area. That was medical evidence.
That was 3 years later.
3 years later. I think he had been so hurt that whenever he passes out stool, it's not so easy to heal sometimes. So this boy, they open up a file, they opt to open up a file against Chris. But Chris Mubiru had already fled the country. So when he comes back, he used to sneak in, out, until we intensified our pressure that he's arrested. Then he was arrested. When he was arrested, he was taken to Uganda Road Court. Then they called us. I also wrote a statement, made a statement against him. I was one of the witnesses who featured. There was Emmanuel Nyanzi. There was the policeman who arrested Chris. The policeman who searched Chris Mubiru's home. And the forensic expert who examined the items that were got from Chris Mubiru's home. And of course the surgeon. Now, later on, throughout the trial, this is the judgment by Her Worship Lillian Buchana.
That's Buganda Road.
Yeah, Buganda Road judgment.
Magistrate.
Which was given on the 18th. That was 18th of September last year, 2015. Now, the evidence was so convincing. The boy proved he had been sodomized. The medical evidence proved he had been sodomized.
By who? Maybe that's where the challenge is. Because you see,
now
they're saying that Do you see unfairness on the part of the judge, or is it that prosecution, and that's what I asked earlier, did not adduce his evidence well enough? Because yes, the boy has been sodomized, but for the judge probably to rule against Chris Mubiru, it should be he has been sodomized, the boy, and it is actually Chris Mubiru that did it, and so on. Because you see, you and I will look at these videos and they're obvious, but I'm told in court, this evidence has got to be adduced, and maybe that's where the challenge is.
No, in her judgment, the lady magistrate said that he, after proving that the boy had been sodomized, then Chris Mubiru had to be put on the scene of crime, which was his home. So the boy and Chris had to fit into the puzzle. Now, the boy talks about being sedated. The boy clearly explained or defined Chris Mubiru's home. And the policeman who went to search corroborated it. Then the materials that were found in there, the chloroform, which is a forbidden drug. You cannot possess it, you cannot have it unless you are an anesthesist. You understand? You induce people to sleep because it's used to induce people to sleep. The boy talks about being induced to sleep through what he drank, what he took. And of course, when you read, you can read here.
Okay, what they're showing me here is the evidence of PW5, I don't know what that is, a forensic examiner who examined an assortment of medical creams, gels, lubricants recovered from the accused's home by the investigating officer PW4, corroborated some aspects of evidence of PW1. Would that be the boy Nyanzi?
Yes.
PW1 said he was given a glass of wine and he lost consciousness. Among items recovered at the home of the accused was chloroform, etc., etc. So, here, looking at all this now, you feel let down by the judge?
Yes, actually, she goes on to say what you didn't read. I'm mindful that the accused is not under duty to provide an explanation, but where prosecution leads evidence to strongly, while the accused offered explanation for existence of gels and creams and painkillers recovered, he had no explanation for possession of chloroform. I'm mindful that the accused is not under duty to provide an explanation, but where prosecution leads evidence to strongly suggest use of an item in an illegal activity, a rebuttal becomes necessary. In its absence, I'm inclined to infer that evidence of PW1 regarding loss of consciousness is connected to the findings of PW5 in his forensic examination report on the use of chloroform found in the accused's home by PW4.
All right, so now Justice Musalu Musene has ruled and acquitted this man. What next for you?
Listen, the judge, the magistrate, looked at the demeanors of both the accused and the victim. And she said, I observed the demeanor of PW1 and the accused person throughout the trial process. The accused avoided eye contact, both with court and the victim. He was looking down throughout. Although the video recordings of a person alleged to be accused of sodomizing young boys were not admitted in evidence for lack of conformity with the Electronic Evidence Act, as well as current victims.
All right, but this is the nitty-gritty. We are not able to read this whole thing here on TV.
Did not dispute that his face appearing in those videos, though he said the lower body in the act is not his. Twice PW1 broke down and cried in the course of his testimony, and the accused in a rather unusual manner turned his back to the court, facing the exit door of the dock. An accomplished footballer and coach, out to prove his innocence. This reclusion reflected a degree of uncertainty about his conduct or misconduct. Why would he avoid eye contact with the court? The demeanor, actually, Justice Masalu never looked at the demeanor of Chris Mubiru and the boy. The one who did the
trial. Is demeanor alone enough? Because you see, it could be that
truthfulness.
And I do hear you on that point, but again, I'm thinking sometimes you get abashed even when you are falsely accused. I'm not too sure that's the case of this man, whether or not he was falsely accused.
Demeanor is so important in any criminal proceedings.
So do you rule just based on demeanor?
Even in civil? No. There was medical evidence the boy was sodomized. There was corroborative evidence. He was seduced, he was induced to sleep, and there was chloroform found.
Okay.
And besides,
all this said
he
and
came
done
to me for counseling. Now, when Justice Masalu said that, why would the boy wake up 3 years down the road, then come to court for justice? Why didn't he report them? Now, this raises a question. There are so many young women, even married women, and young boys who are sodomized, who are raped, who are defiled. And the first thing in their conscience is the stigma. How will I start? Unless they find someone they can trust to tell their story, many keep silent.
All
and
right,
until
so
they are
this
cancelled,
case
that's when they
has
come
happened
out.
as it
so
has.
this boy comes.
I'm
Actually,
interested
Masaru
really
is
in
as
the
good as
what
saying-
next. I'm interested in knowing
Let-
what happens next,
yes.
because this all has happened.
Let me
it is
conclude
dusted.
this. Let me conclude this. So Justice Masaru's judgment is as good as saying that if you are raped or defiled or sodomized, if you don't report to police then to start an investigation, then never bother to report. Does that mean that when someone does not report immediately, that person was never hurt, was
So-
never raped, was never defiled?
What next? What's going to happen now?
We are
What's
going
the
to
plan?
appeal. We cannot let that sodomite
That's the
out.
Court of Appeal.
That is the Court of Appeal. It is, we were not taken by emotions that the videos came. Even when we look at the the magistrate's judgment, she was not taken by emotion that there were videos. No, 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 no. She said, I'm not going to admit the videos because they do not conform with the Electronic Evidence Act, and they were not relied on. They were not even tendered because I played them in court, but they were not tendered. The magistrate refused to rely on them, although she cited that bit of it, but she didn't rely on them. Now, we need to appeal. I've already communicated with the DPP, Justice Mike Chibita. He has responded. He has already instructed an appeal. We are going to meet. We have a meeting with him so that we can see the way forward. But definitely we are going to appeal because, one, we cannot have this as a precedent. A man who's fit to be behind bars, out on the streets, seducing other boys, probably even women, and then sodomizing them or abusing them. If you were doing it with adults he consent with, of course none is going to report. But because he has been doing it to the vulnerable, the weak, the youth, the children, then that cannot be tolerated. Those who think that Justice Masaru had no alternative but to release him are actually confused. Justice Masaru deliberately misinterpreted the judgment of the lower court to create an exit for Chris Mubiru out of prison.
Let's bring this, Pastor Mali, and talk about this whole fight and battle against homosexuality in this country. At some point, of course, we did have a law in place, then it was quashed by the courts, then the president told MPs, look, you need to go slow, you know, these Western powers are donors and so on. Do you feel we have relegated this fight out of fear? Or is it because maybe to some people it's not a big deal like it is to the Pastor Malays?
I featured here with Pastor Martin Semper. I think that was 2014 when the law was passed by Parliament.
I remember I was still at the rooftop the other side.
At the rooftop. And I said we don't need that law. The law was opportunistic. The law was full of populism. The law was hypocritical. We all know that we have good laws in place. When you say that there are no laws, then you clear the system from incompetence, from corruption, from improprieties, and then you say, no, the reason these people get off the hooks is because there are no laws. Uganda has very good laws.
So why do you think they
even
get off
with
the
regard
hook?
to homosexuality, Penal Code Section 145 is very, very clear. Anal sex against the order of nature, it's a criminal offense, and when you do it, when you commit it, the sentence is life in jail. And when it comes to where you do it to minors, to children below 18, then the sentence is life. But where the children are below 14, or the children are below 18 but are disabled, or you confine them, or you're a serial offender, or you have HIV, and so on and so forth, then you are supposed to suffer death. That is the law. That is Section 129 of the Penal Code. These laws are already there. But why is it that these laws are not working? It's not that they are not there. It's because of the high corruption. It's because of the incompetence. It's because of criminality with impunity, where the criminals themselves control the system. I've sodomized you. I've raped you. What will you do? I've done it, finished it. He has money, he bribes the police. He has money, he bribes the judge or the magistrate or the prosecutor. And then the cases are killed. And you see miscarriage of justice of the highest order, where victims cannot access justice. Not because laws are not there. The law that you're talking about, the Bahati promoted law, we didn't need it. When you actually read it, I came here and analyzed it, it is pro-homosexuality. And I'm so surprised
Why did you say that?
The content, it muzzles the media. Would you host anyone to say anything? A victim, would you host a victim to say, I was sodomized without authority of court? You wouldn't, under that law. It muzzles the media. And if you do, the sentence is 5 million shillings. Where would you get it from? Or where would this reporter, who gets probably 100,000 or 20,000 or 200,000 or 10,000 for a story, where would that reporter get the money from? So it's as good as saying, you see, you hear, don't report. If you do, here it is. It deliberately breaches the Constitution, Article 21, the right to non-discrimination.
I have had this discussion with the people who, and I am a Christian, just like you are, and some Christian friends of mine have told me, you see, Joel, no one ever appointed you a moral policeman for this world or for this country. And their view is that, as we discuss, I mind my business, I just try as best as I can to be the light, and people can look up to me, maybe pick out a few good things, drop the bad ones that I do. And those that want to live a certain way, it should be their business as long as they are not, their actions are not injurious to me.
And they are Christians?
And yes, they are.
You are your brother's keeper.
Should it be by force, they ask?
Keeper. No, it's a moral obligation. It's a moral duty. I'm supposed to ensure that you are not hurt. And I'm supposed to ensure that you don't hurt others.
How about if I don't want to be helped? They go ahead and ask.
You see, if you don't want to be helped, still it's my duty. Why would we call in the police or anyone if someone is committing suicide? Why would we? Why would we call in other people when someone is going to commit an offense or to murder? It's our moral duty, moral obligation. And as a religious leader, as a spiritual leader, as a leader, a moral leader in this country, I'm even more obliged to do what I do than all else. Actually, those who are keeping quiet when evil thrives, then they are doing a disservice for this country. Edmund Burke said that the only thing necessary for the evil to triumph is for the good men to do nothing. We must do something. Whether you talk, whether you host me like you've done, whether we stand with the weak, the voiceless, where are we, Christians, when they are the weak in our society, the voiceless in our society, the poor in our society, the widows in our society, the children in our society, the vulnerable, and they are always taken advantage of.
Pastor Mali, how do you explain it to non-Christians, people that are not Christians like you and I? And so they'll say, well, I don't subscribe to your tenets. So if your tenets, your biblical tenets tell you not to do that, that's okay. But I'm not a Christian, so why should you try
even if you're not a Christian,
that down my throat?
You have a conscience. And that conscience defines between right and wrong, between good and right.
But your conscience can be seared, and so...
If the conscience is seared, then we've got to say that those who are saying that when you come and do what we do, you are wrong, let them do what they want, then they are part of the corrupted society. They don't even need to be listened to, because they are not going to take us anywhere. We need progressive people. We need people who are ready to cause a difference in this country, to cause a transformation in this country. We're not going to cause a transformation by keeping silent when men are sodomizing young boys, they are raping, even women are going vulgar, like you see this Makerere Don, Dr. Stella Nyanzi, whom I've always known to be part of the gay community and advocating for their rights.
Somebody did ask me, as I had one of these discussions with some people, and this is what they said. You see, it is wrong when, say, a man sodomizes a minor, rapes them through that act. And they said, but you see, Joel, what is wrong with two adults, consenting adults who know what they're doing? They are mature people. they have agreed, let's say they're both 30 years. Just hold on a second.
Wait, don't bother about
let me
that.
finish it. Let me finish the thing. You know, they've decided to go into a hotel somewhere or in their house. For that matter, they've gone into a bedroom. They're not in any way being injurious to anybody's right. And so they do that. What is plausibly wrong about that? This person asked me. What would you tell them?
Homosexuality is hurting to the doer and the doing.
Yeah, but they've agreed.
Listen,
It hurts them, but
if
they've
they've
agreed,
agreed,
so
no one is going to come to me and report. No one is going to police and report. No one is even going to come to you, Joel, and say, that man has sodomized me, or he has been sodomizing me, or I've been so none, because they've agreed. And there is no way you're going to get those people unless the right to privacy is lifted. It is a constitutional right. I hope you're aware. Article 27 of the Constitution. Every person has a right to privacy. And if you want to encroach on my privacy, then you need to go to the court of authority, seek a warrant, come and search, then get me. But if you come and get me without a warrant, then I can sue for encroachment on my right to privacy. You remember Justice Stella Rachamoko in a decision on a case that was filed by Victor Mukasa, a lesbian, and her colleague, her partner, Yvonne. These two were arrested. Yvonne was arrested in their home. Then later on, they team up with Victor, her partner, and they sue the Attorney General for encroachment on their right to privacy. Stella Rachamoko, Justice, was presiding over the matter. She actually gave a judgment that true, the Attorney General, the state encroached on the right to privacy of these two consenting homosexuals. It's a precedent in the High Court. The Attorney General never appealed, so that means it stands there. So legally, you cannot. When they've agreed, and none reports. But where one reports, then we are duty bound to step in and help. And of course, I think our major duty now, our major obligation, is to educate people about the challenge and dangers of indulgence in homosexuality. So that even if they are to choose to indulge, they should do so from a point of knowledge that, hey, I'll be hurt, I'll have rectal prolapse, I'll have anal fissures, I'll have hemorrhoids, I can even have a bowel damage, and then they are condemned. You can have HIV, easily transmitted. You can have anal cancer because of the human papilloma virus. You can have vaginal cancer. You can have urinary incontinence for the women. You can have rectal prolapse, and so on and so forth.
And several other things.
Several other things.
I'm afraid my time is up, but
Now,
clearly this is a struggle that should go on.
I need people to support this cause. It hurts me, Joel, to meet people on the street, to meet people wherever I go. Clerics telling me, Pastor, we are praying for you. Thanks for standing. I don't consider that as appropriate. We need to team up. We need to raise a team that will stand like I have done. We need to support them, not morally, but financially. I've been catering for young boys who are sodomized. The recent case was sodomized by a student in Makerere. It took him to room 21, C21, in Nkuruma Hall, and sodomized him. He picked him from, Makerere Main Gate, that building, Ham Towers. There is, what is there? There is a supermarket there, Tuskies. That's where he picked him from. The boy is 11. He takes him into Makerere, sodomizes him. The boy gets rectal prolapse. This is 11-year-old boy. Society doesn't want to help. I want to thank God for Subi FM. They hosted me. We raised money for this boy. He got treatment. Do you know how much it costs for a colonoscopy?
Clearly, the financial support should come through. Pastor Mali, I'm afraid my time is up. We have got to end now.
Financially, not merely morally. We don't merely want people who say thank you.
Financials should come through.
Who can stand
and let's
with
pray
us.
and hope they do. Thanks about joining us this morning, and keep up the fight.
Wait, we are appealing. Chris Mubiru, you don't deserve to be out, and I'll make sure that you're not out.
Let's
as long as I live,
all right.
I'll stand.
Thank you.
You're
Let's
welcome.
come through with my opinion. I'll tell you, I shudder when I see many things that happen in this good country. Things that we keep paying a blind eye to, but maybe we should not, because it just could come through your backyard and you could be the victim. So we need to arise to this matter. But think about this case, and well, this is not sub judice because the case was dispensed, except if these good people do appeal. For goodness sake, these videos were all over the place. The images were everywhere of this man, Chris Mubiru, and then with my very little knowledge, this man gets dismissed. I'm thinking, what happened to justice being served? Anyway, it's good they say they're going to appeal. Let's look out and see how things go, and justice gets served. That's it for today's edition of The Big Story. Thanks a bunch for joining us. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Coming up in a bit is Everyday Life.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Just buy a Pepsi, SMS the unique 4-digit code to 8888 and stand a chance to win.
My name is Eli. I'm one of the lucky winners who are going to watch finals for Champions League in Milan, Italy. So I'm very excited for winning this ticket, fully paid expenses.
Just buy a Pepsi, SMS the unique 4-digit code to 8888 and stand a chance to win.
Do not miss the live broadcast of the Situation Room this Saturday at 3 p.m. discussing the NRM Manifesto and youth healthcare issues. The venue is Heritage Courts, Arua, and the general public is invited. The Situation Room is supported by
Are you a poultry farmer or you intend to get into poultry farming and are in search of skills and techniques of making profits from your poultry venture? Daily Monitor brings you the 4th Seeds of Gold Farm Clinic with focus on poultry on 7th May 2016 at Makerere Agriculture Research Institute, Kabanyoro, Gayaza, at a fee of 70,000 shillings only, payable at Daily Monitor headquarters on 8th Street, Namuwongo. For exhibition or more information, please call Emmeline on 0774 853 187. Seeds of Gold in partnership with Agricultural Business Initiative, sponsored by UAP Insurance.
Why don't you go and they hire you in a construction company as the rogue that blocks the road that is under construction? And we know that finally you are putting your size to use. It's not your fault, so it's our fault. It's our fault us who are walking. Do you even pay road license? Because the space you use is for big trucks. No, seriously. Seriously, be careful. This is a road for local people. Please, whose bed are you going to? Jesus, what is this? At this rate, I swear someone can put a bean between your toes and it will grow.
Isa yalagula Yesu ngali je mabega. Akali mu mufunzi.
Yesu ne Isa ani yasookawo munne.
Isa.
Buli lw'otayogera na muntu kutegeera bimukwata kutosobola kumutegeera yenna. Tekisoboka.
Era ndako yakatugamba nti Abaganda mbwanyala jakasukire gumba gyegenda. Kala kagamba akukano.
Obote. Wateekwa okubaawo eddoboozi abantu lye bakozesa. Eddoboozi abantu lye bakozesa okutuusa okunnyonnyola kwabwe, okutegeerekeka, okutangaza bye bakwatako. Conqueror of the British Empire. Naye nga waka mubimuyita, waka mwamuyitanga mutya?
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. Kuwuliriza, kufumiitiriza, kukola, kwogera. Bina.
Tuwaye.
Bwe yamala okutuula ngenda okutunula mu kibatu kyange kino kyentaddeko bwendi nga muvaamu ebiwuka ng'ensolosozi.
Ebimu byewuunyisa, binakuwaza, ebirala bikyusa obulamu.
Omuntu atasomye atya n'okuyingira ofiisi naye ng'omanyi nti nina omukyala n'abaana awaka nakinkola nina ne bizinesi naye ntya n'okuyingira ofiisi eno okwennyonnyolako.
Eddoboozi lye njogerako. Tuwaye.
Oba onyumirwa ebyemizannyo jangu nkulage.
Does! And Adam Johnson, the boyhood Newcastle United man, historic, flying in the face of all football logic. A magnificent goal by Robbie Van Jordan has her backs it up and cracks it in. Checo finds it. It's spectacular slide. Penalty for Borussia Dortmund. And he scores.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am a Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired the President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the two individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
You know what they say about girls. Who cries more? Girls. Who does the chores? Girls. Who's the shopaholic? Girls. Who's all about selfies? Girls. Who brings the drama? Girls. But we want to show you our real world, where we're more than just girls. Introducing Spark TV, the first female channel in Uganda, made for you to bring out the best in you. Spark TV, it's your time.
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All arising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
On the next episode of Revved Up, Uganda's premier motoring show is back once again with an all-new and exciting episode. Join us every week as we take you through the latest innovations and developments in the motoring industry. All this and more on
Good morning to you, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much for staying with us this morning at NTV. Of course, people are celebrating birthdays today, and we are told that April is a month of some very special people, including the Kabaka of Buganda, but also the Queen of England. Today she turns 89. 90? Yeah, 90. Do you think you will live up to 90?
Man. You don't have zebra crossings, what?
You don't have zebra crossings in Uganda. You're likely to die very soon. But she turns 90 today, and of course, happy birthday to the Queen. But there's something that you need to know about the Queen, some interesting 5 facts about the Queen. Look at this.
First up in the number 5 spot, she woke up one night to find a stranger in her bed.
On July 9th, 1982, a 31-year-old psychiatric patient named Michael Fagan scaled the Buckingham Palace drainpipe and made his way into Elizabeth's sleeping chambers. The man was dripping in blood from his hand from his climb to get inside, and then he took a seat on the Queen's bed near the corner. She woke up and didn't panic. Instead, she had a 10-minute talk with the guy about his kids and his mental problems until a guard thankfully came in. They later found out that this wasn't his first time breaking in. Moving on to the number 4 spot, the Queen sent an email back in 1976. It's a long time ago. Queen Elizabeth sent her first email while taking part in a network technology demonstration on March 26, 1976. Now, what did it say? It was kind of boring. Some like navigational instructions. It'd be funny if it was like some juicy stuff like, "Oh, Charles, you're such a sexy son." Unfortunately, it was nothing like that. Regardless, she is the first head of state ever to send an email, and she's gotten very like tech savvy as of recent. She's got an iPad mini, and she sends out a lot of emails. She doesn't write them, she has people for that. Moving on to number 3, she was shot at by a teenager. During her 55th birthday celebration on June 13, 1981, shots rang out as Elizabeth rode her horse in a parade near Buckingham Palace. The Queen was never hit. She actually quickly calmed her horse and continued on with the show. The 17-year-old boy named Marcus Surgeon, well, he fired 6 shots in the Queen's direction. Now, this young shooter, he had idolized the assassins of John F. Kennedy as well as John Lennon and wanted to recreate something like that for himself. Thankfully, he missed, and the cops were able to apprehend him. He spent 3 years in prison, and when he got out, well, he changed his name and got on with his life. Next up at number 2, the Queen paid for her own wedding dress in coupons. Princess Elizabeth married Philip Mountbatten on November 20th, 1947. This was shortly after the end of the Second World War, and the population of England was getting by on ration cards. Now, this royal wedding was actually really practical, especially by royal standards, and the Queen had to save up her own ration coupons to afford the dress she wanted. In the end, she got an ivory satin gown designed by Norman Hartnell, and it was encrusted with 10,000 white pearls. That's a lot of coupons. But pearls, cheaper than diamonds, right? Finally, in the number 1 spot, this woman, she don't need no passport. She's reportedly visited 116 countries during her 60-year reign and is the most widely traveled head of state. But she don't need no paperwork. Actually, all British passports are signed or like sealed with the Queen's name on it. So when she's the one signing them, what's the point of having her up? She's gonna like, yo, I'm here. On top of that, she does not need a driver's license, and she drives a lot. She's been spotted going around in a Range Rover. Good for her.
The Queen. It would be nice not to own a passport or a driver's license, but happy birthday to everyone who is also celebrating their birthday today. Now, this space is supposed to be a creative place for artists. It's supposed to be the representation of our culture and tradition. But lately, there's been a huge row at the Ugandan National Culture Center, which many of us call the National Theatre. We're going to look at what is actually happening at the National Theatre and how can we resolve it. That's coming up on Everyday Life.
Everyday Life
is brought to you by
Star Times.
Joining me on the show is Philip Luswata, who is very renowned here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And Jack Serunkuma, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You have a campaign called Save Uganda National Theatre, and I see you wearing a t-shirt, Change Management, Save the Arts. What happened? Where does it start from? For a space where we knew, I remember I watched one of my first plays at the National Theatre. So I was about, I think I was about P5.
What play was it?
It was a play by Christopher Mchibi. I don't even remember the title.
Okay.
Yes. And his second, I quote that at Pride Theatre. But what happened?
Well, Brian, let me ask you a question that will answer that question. One, a couple of questions I'm going to ask. When were you last at the National Theatre? Would you recommend a friend now to meet you at the National Theatre? Would you recommend anybody to just go maybe and sit in the restaurant and enjoy? Would you have a meeting there? Do you enjoy passing by? Because I know you guys pass by there on your way to the Winton to have lunch. Mm-hmm. How do you feel passing by that place? Do you feel inspired?
It's now a path.
It's now a path. Right. So the National Theatre has slowly gone down before our eyes. And there seems to be no action to bring it back up. Everything at the National Theatre is being privatized, is it blitzed off. We don't have the studio. Before we had the best studio in the country. However, do you know even that we have a studio, a state-of-the-art studio at the National Theatre?
No.
That has been given away. Why? Because, and you know, such a big opportunity to offer training opportunities for new producers, music producers, for deserving talent, music talent that can't actually create its own, pay for its own production. The studio now, we don't have. We don't have even a single camera. Such a huge opportunity. Someone who has a studio, you know, you have a studio here. Now you have a stage on which you can shoot numerous sitcoms every day. Where from midnight to 6, you are just shooting new product, new content for television, because everyone is now demanding content. And you say the studio with 3 state-of-the-art cameras, all gone. Then look at the restaurant. Our culinary.
I remember when I last went to that restaurant, I think about 3.5 years ago, when I went to eat sausages with Anne Kasi.
By Roger.
Yes.
Now Roger moved, everyone left. Now the restaurant is being given away, has been given away already. Bids were given. So, and the culinary culture in Uganda now is growing. People are talking about food. We have food festival, cake festival, nyama choma festival. We have not, I don't know, when did you last eat achodi food? When did you last eat food from the Batwa? All those opportunities to sell Uganda's culinary habits, but you give it away because you think, what? It's not being profitable. However, we have a bar there. I don't know what. All those are things that we should look at and say, let us celebrate Uganda. You're supposed to come to the Uganda National Cultural Center, not to visit just the National Theatre, but the Uganda National Cultural Center to celebrate Uganda's culture, to see your expression, to see yourself as a Ugandan represented. But is that what is happening there? Do you go to the National Theatre and you feel, this is me? Right. I am proud to be Ugandan. Right. And then that's supposed to be the center of our pride as Ugandans.
There's a lot of conversation on social media, and on your screen there you can see some of the screenshots that have been taken. And of course people are saying you guys are doing a good job. Jack, you have spent a lot of, both of you have a lot of experience, but you know, as far as theatre is concerned, what is your main concern, especially the things that you'd like management, or in case that you're not looking for the change of management, but what can the current management do? Let's start first of all, what are they not doing specifically?
I'll take you briefly through my experience at the theatre. I first stood on that stage in 1975. Literally, that was when I was 5 years. I've grown up there. I've done everything at the theatre. My life, I stay at the National Theatre. You find me on Christmas and any other day. Now, the problems of the theatre started in 2006 when the management, Walugembe headed the management. Now, that's where things started going wrong. Now, the theatre, I don't like calling it Uganda National Culture Center because personally, I may be wrong, personally I don't see anything cultural about that place. So I call it National Theatre, and I'm very, very proud to call it National Theatre. Now, National Theatre is supposed to develop talent, nurture talent, develop talent, and promote artists. That was what was there. All of us were brought up, nurtured, promoted, up to where we were before this mess came in. In 2008, I spearheaded the fight to change. It's not about us, we are mistaken. People mistake us and think we want to take over the management. No. We want to improve our working conditions. Theatre is our work. That's what we do for a living. Like anybody else goes, people go to factories, people go to other offices, we go to...
That's where you earn...
a living.
Right.
So, things have been going wrong. Theatre, people look at the theatre as a building. We are looking at National Theatre as an institution for the promotion of arts in the entire country, not only there. I grew up there, I worked there, okay, as a stage manager. My work involved going around the country and pick talent, bring the talent to Kampala and take talent from Kampala to the rest of Uganda. What's going on now? We are getting a bunch of people who come only to take money without putting back or doing anything to help the artists.
If you look at, for example, the funding that you get from the central government, is it even enough to bring the theatre to the standard that you people require it?
Allow me to answer that one. In fact, the government gives us 28 million every year. I think we should be giving the government 30 million shillings every month. We should be giving them money because the money is there. The potential to give back money is there. Look at how much talent is in Uganda. Look at how much possibility. If the National Theatre, as Jack has said, did what it's supposed to do, did what she is supposed to do, and the Uganda National Cultural Centre also does what they're supposed to do, and develop talent regionally, look at all that money that would come in. I'll give you an example. Right now, the National Theatre is making money out of wedding meetings. And just look at the math.
In fact, the National Theatre, I think, is mainly known for hosting wedding meetings.
Yes. Now, let us do the quick math. If on a full house wedding meetings, they have like, say, 10 meetings happening.
Each wedding is
paying 30K. Now, that's 300,000. Okay, let's say 40. That's 400,000 on one given day. And there you have hosted over 30 people who are spending, in each group, maybe like buying 10 sodas. So they're not actually spending money at the center. And then the quality of the traffic coming into the center is not the quality of traffic we want to aim at. The quality, someone who come to the center and leave 200,000, leave 300,000 every time they come. That's the quality of traffic that needs to be at the center, and that's not the quality of traffic we are getting. But it's only in Uganda now where a theater ticket costs $3, 10,000 shillings. I think that's
That's very cheap.
2.5. Yeah?
That's very cheap.
$3. That's a beer in Europe. It's not even a beer. You can't even have a pint for $3. It's £5. So how are you selling a theater performance for less than $3? And it's because you have not built space for spectacle, because people buy spectacles. Spectacle, people want to consume art every day, and they want to consume good art, and they want to pay for it. Here at the Serena, people pay 5 million for a table of 10 people. How much is that? That's $500,000 just for one person, and that table is full. Now, if instead of those 10 wedding meetings, you said, Philip, I'm going to subdivide these plots, and I want you guys rehearsing from that corner. You guys, you have a month each, and I want quality work. So that throughout the year, you are assured that that auditorium of 350 people sits full house, people who are paying 100,000 shillings each for a ticket. Now, doing the math, just one show is going to give you 35 million in the month. And those 10 meetings of 400 are going to give you 4 million shillings in a month. Why not invest in a good production in 1 month so that I do not have to spend my space on 10 wedding meetings every day for 30 days?
What happens then? Because, well, I keep seeing billboards every time you pass the National Theatre. Someone is advertising a play, someone is doing this. Of course, even for some productions, the entrance is free of charge. How, for lack of better, management ekibaletiya?
Let me put it this way. Kantandikire wano emabegako katondo nnyo. The government giving the theatre 27 million. I can kankigeraageranye ne taata aina business na kuwa business akulaba okuze agamba take that business, pay electricity, pay water and so on, run the business, look after yourself.
Right.
don't give me any money back. Okay? Although I still have the land title of that business. Can you walk back to your daddy and say, Daddy, now give me more money, unless you have a problem? I wouldn't go back to my daddy to say, Daddy, give me more money. Because your daddy expects you to run, to behave like an intellectual, to make money and survive. Now, that's the situation at the theater. Like Philip said, we don't need money from the government. We are supposed to give money to the government. Okay? But that's the notion at the theater. Every time you talk to them, they tell you, government, we get only 27. Yeah. Now, 27, we are even very, 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 very happy.
And the director earns 11 million of that
11
27
million
every month. So he's paying himself.
Are you serious?
120 million a year.
Are we serious?
Now, you talked about free shows.
The 27 million is a year from government.
Yes. And it takes 120
million.
Where does the funding come from to, for example, give the director a salary?
From the meager money that has been collected from artists. People have come there, people have gone away empty-handed. They've paid the theater, they've made losses. Now, if you really want to become poor, go to the National Theatre.
Well, just to be clear to our viewers, we invited the management of National Theatre and they declined the invitation, but we are trying to make sure that we get in touch with them so that we balance this discussion. But that's something I needed to inform you so that you understand. But what I know now is that we have Mr. Musisi online. Good morning, Mr. Musisi. Do I have Mr. Musisi? Do I have him? Good morning, Mr. Musisi. Hello? Okay, we seem to have lost him. Just to balance this discussion so that we understand what happens in other theaters, the places that you visited, that you would like to see at this center?
We want the National Theatre to move from being a presenting theatre to becoming a producing theatre.
What does that mean?
It means theatre should be in a position to advance your money, to help you put your production together, and then present and you go away happy. We've done it before. So it's not a new thing. We did it before and people were very happy. That's what we want.
And we would like it to be a center of quality. I want you to come to the theater and be assured, I want you to buy a seasonal ticket for December, knowing that whichever ticket I buy at the theater is going to be the best.
But Philip, maybe that's the problem, because it's like the conversation that we have on Ugandan films. And people say, well, they are not quality films. That's why I don't buy a Ugandan film. And some people will say that, yeah, when I come to watch a play, for example, at the National Theatre, it's not good. So why should I go and pay 100,000 for a production that is not worth it?
And that's our fight. Because we can see clearly that it's possible to have quality. But there's no quality assurance. Right now, the traffic, and that was always the case, should be coming from the region to the national.
I have Mr. Musisi online. Good morning, Mr. Musisi.
Good morning, sir.
Just talk to me about the crisis at the National Theatre. I'm here with Philip and Jack. But I know that it dated back a few years ago when the management decided to pour grease on the veranda where some people used to sit and some of your artists. What is the genesis of this crisis?
The veranda. Hello?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, partly.
When management decided to pour grease in a place where, say, was a waiting area for people who are going in the theater to watch the productions, why did management decide to do this? And just talk to me really about the genesis of the crisis at the theater and how management, according to some people, has failed to run this place.
There's no crisis at the theatre.
Sorry?
And there's no crisis at the theatre as such. Maybe the crisis you're talking about is financial, but not managerial. Because I don't know if you have been to National Theatre. Even yesterday I was there. Everybody is free to sit wherever they want. Artists are free to come to there is a place there called the CICP to come and do their work. They come there. They bring their laptops. Then I don't think there is anybody hindered from entering National Theatre, and particularly the artists. The artists are free, and recently we had a meeting to ensure that the artists are free to enter that CICP and come in and go away.
Mr. Msisi, not to downplay your submission, but I can still go to a restaurant with my laptop and use free Wi-Fi and actually just buy soda. But we are looking critically at if the National Theatre is supposed to encourage cultural development and quality of the products coming out. And please go on.
That is important, because now we start with letting artists in, and then once they are free to come in, then for us, as far as we are concerned, since we were appointed on the board, we have carried out a few interviews with the production, the finance sector, and so on. So what we are doing is to ensure that we established a committee with the production of artists, where Mr. Swata, Jack Serunkuma, Abe Mukivi, Kibuka, Benon are members. They sit on that committee called the revamping committee. Now, those are supposed to ensure that the theatre is revived.
Well, they seem to be on the other side, and I'm here with them. Please, gentlemen, react to
whichever side they want to take, they are free. But as far as I'm concerned, I was instructed, we discussed at the board level to establish a subcommittee that will help revamp National Theatre.
Mr. Msisi, Jack Serunkuma, I would like to respond to
Mr. Chimba Musisi, you and I know you've been in the theatre for a very long time. And I'm surprised that because you are put on the board, you can even stand and you tell the world that you are doing very good.
Just I'm not saying
Chimba Musisi,
Mr. Msisi, let's first listen. I'll give you an opportunity to react to what. Yes, Jack.
Chimba Musisi, olina ekizibu kimu. Let me go to Uganda. Ekizibu kyo kiri kimu. Oyagala nnyo okubeera omukulembeze. What's happening today at Sako? Linda Utiga yagwa because yasembayo nga gwe chairman. Sente zaffe zafiirayo. Ati Sako ejekirira buli lunaku. Nejjuze era ndafuna complaint eziriwo amember.
Jack, let's listen to Mr. Msisi. What happened to the Sako?
I wanted something more constructive, please, because those are arguments on the street. We want something very constructive
Mr.
to
Msisi,
discuss.
Mr. Msisi, aren't those some of the issues that these people who seem to be on the other side keep raising, because it affects artists who you manage?
Yeah, but if they don't allow me to explain,
please go on. Please go on.
I cannot explain.
Please go on. I've asked them to. We've muted their microphones. Please go on.
Yes. Is accusing Utiga. Utiga was an association for the artists. Okay. Me, I happen to be the chairperson. Right. And Utiga, you can only belong there when you have a group. And I know all the members, but Mr. Jack Serunkuma was not a member of Utiga, but could come in the meetings. Right? Now we take the how national, right?
Yes. Mr. Msisi, how do you plan on changing this place? Because on changing the way the theatre is run, because many of us think it became a venue for wedding meetings only.
Now you are talking. Now In the meetings, in the 3 meetings we have started since we appointed board members, you hear me?
But go on.
We have established in the production subcommittee, in the production department, to ensure that the theatre is revamped. Because we are not party to how the theatre collapsed in the past. We
So
were just
am I right to say? Am I right to say that right now you have no ideas on how to develop the place? You are at the stage of the committee, of establishing the committee. You do not have, as the board, things that you know can be done to improve the center.
I am explaining to you. I'm explaining to you that we have established a committee of the artists to come on board in the production department and work with the production department to see a number of things.
Mr. Again, with all due respect, I need things like you're going to do this, you're going to improve this, you're going to do this. That's what I need from you, sir. Yes.
Okay. We are going to improve that theater, right? By making sure that the artists are this is the production department. That's one. Okay? 2, we want to ensure that the National Theatre expands its income. As such, we have outsourced to the restaurant. And now the restaurant has been advertised so that some private people can take it over so that they can pay rent.
Philip would like to respond to this. Philip, why are you laughing at this? Because gentlemen, first listen. Mr. Musisi.
Please wait.
Because the point he has said so many things that are wrong. And I really feel sorry for the board that this is the guy, Chiyimba Musisi. The epitome of what is wrong in our theater is the guy you have sent to represent you on national television. It's a shame. Chiyimba Musisi is totally not the person who should be talking here. Because when a year ago we were with him and he was crying. Now the first thing he has said is that CICP is the place that has been given to artists. Even the administration, they say, we gave you the CICP. Have you been to the CICP? The CICP actually is supposed to be the ballroom at the theater, I think.
Yeah.
Traditionally it was created as a ballroom. And it's a place that has a door here and a door here and a door there. Now these guys, they put their offices all around it and also an access to the bar and what. So saying that you gave CICP as a place for artists to rehearse, for artists to meet, for artists to create new and inspiring art is totally irresponsible, because we all know that the CICP is a walkway and partially a bar. Because in the corner there is a restaurant. So now you a dancer, say for instance, you are in a leotard, your leg is up, and an old man is seated there at the bar watching.
I don't have a lot of time. I have about 3 minutes to wrap this up. I want you, Jack and Philip, to talk about things that you want to be done at the theater. And Mr. Msio is online, not have the last shot. But talk to us about what the way forward.
The way forward one is, we developed this thing. We went to right now we are going to Mr. Pius Bijimana's office at the ministry, and we're going to give this document to him, which spells out everything wrong about the theater and everything that should be done. Where do we see the National Theater going, point by point, in the next, up to 2020? Because we have experienced it. When we went to Mr. Pius Bijimana last year with this same complaint, he told us, when you come back again, don't come with just complaints. Come with a plan. Come with solutions. And we have these solutions. And these solutions, we even shared them with the National Theatre last year, because we put the book on the table and said, now, this is it. Take action. The National Theatre, we agreed with Mr. Pius Bijimana's office that action is going to be taken. And up to now, we've been begging those people. We took action as we had promised. We said we are going to develop the new playwrights network. We are going to do all those new shows, train new actors, train new dancers, everything we did. But they kept the gate closed to our audiences. They kept the gate closed even to us. They kept the gates closed to our mentors. They kept the gates closed. We don't even have, even the arts club, they gave it away. They gave away the green room. Everything, every place that should help us do good art, that make us represent respectable.
I have a phone call for you. Let's just hear one more phone call from a viewer. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, boss. Your submission.
Yes, my name is Ronnie Mulindo, Obsession. I support Luswata and Mr. This National Theatre is a rot. National Theatre is a rot. Some of us have put up productions in the National Theatre for years and we pulled out completely. You understand? We support Luswata and tuba supporting Echitu please. The administration of National Theatre, which interested the National Theatre, is rotten. Honestly, how can he deceive the nation? Some of us have pulled out of National Theatre completely. We were in the National Theatre out of passion. Because the passion is to call anything, not to or anything, but we stayed there hoping something will change. Swatter and company, please, Mugende Maso, Tubawagira, and probably some of us will be back in this. Hoping something will change. We'll be back for these shows after something has changed.
Thank you so much for your submission. Jack. Yes, your last word. This is a discussion that cannot end just now.
Can't end.
Yes.
My last word. We want to go back to developing the arts and make the arts as one of the industries where young people can get employment. Every time these people think, when I say this, I refer to the management. Yes. The management and the board, where Mr. Chimbamusi sits. Like that gentleman said, it's a big shame. Because even Mr. Chimba himself, he has the group called The Planets. He cannot, and he cannot dare, put a show at the National Theatre. He cannot. I don't know when he last put the show there. Because he knows. People have gone away. Bakayimbira is a big group. They've gone away empty-handed. Now, we want to take back the theatre to becoming a producing theatre, where you come at the theatre and you are assured of paying your bills. But at the moment, when we still have these people who are acting like it's an example. Ngamba kakati nkosa nnyo example y'omuyayu wild card. Nti omuyayu gujja mu nyumba tegusobola kumanya nti eno mother chicken kanjireke ndi abaana enkyere zaala amajamala. It eats everything. Then the following day is starving. This is what we are saying. Let the theatre get back to the track. We've offered free advice. We've offered free service. Good committee mwami gundi jayogerako. I'm part of it, but I pulled out. Kubanga ebintu byemuteesaako oyo mwennyini nyini batukane bakola ebyabwe. Toyinza kuba nti kuvuma muntu ne tujja ne tuteesa wano nti jangu ku program ne nkuba assuring nti nja kujja ku program, then I don't come. Right. Next time you don't call me. Katereke bakola.
Gentlemen, we'll definitely invite you next time because also we are fast spent on time. Thank you so much for sparing your time. We shall definitely be following this conversation and the row at the National Theatre. I will tell you the truth, I was an actor. I did some good acting in school. I was an entertainment prefect. And I think over time, many of us will know. Definitely, I've seen that art is not something that we are able to embrace. Of course, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. You can follow the hashtag I am at Save UNCC. That's what is happening there. You can see that on your screen. Hashtag I am at, hashtag Save UNCC. And contribute to the conversation that is going on. That's your everyday life this morning. Make sure you stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Start time. Owagabiwo mu digital TV. For more information, call 117-117-700. Start time. Affordable digital television.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185#.
Amanya gange nze Ndaseje Farida ndi musawo nkolera ku ddwaliro lyaffe erya gavumenti erya Zanta ndi wano ku Airtel olwaleero mpangudde emitwalo 29 ndi musanyufu nnyo mbakubiriza okweyunga ku Airtel yakabi nnyo mwana yesinga mpangudde olwaleero ndi musanyufu nnyo kuba ngenda kweyongerayo okusoma nsasule school fees zange. Airtel big up.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Taste the feeling.
Do not miss the live broadcast of the Situation Room this Saturday at 3 p.m. discussing the NRM Manifesto and youth healthcare issues. The venue is Heritage Courts, Arua, and the general public is invited. The Situation Room is supported by
Let go of me! Let go of me! Give me that notebook! That notebook is mine! And it is private! Drop it!
Nothing is private here. This isn't your house.
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All arising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #DiscoverMe on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
You can now become an exclusive MTV reporter on the go. With the NTV Go mobile app, you can create news by capturing and sharing content instantly. Simply download the NTV Go app on Google Play Store. Go to the N Reporter feature and start reporting as the news happens. We will air your story on a special TV program. NTV Go also allows you to watch news, instant live updates, and follow your favorite show from the comfort of your home, taxi, or your favorite kafunda. Download NTV Go app now from Play Store.
Who's there? Huh? How'd this get here?
Mwasuza Mutia is brought to you by
Radiant. Feel yourself.
and Finance Trust Bank, the bank that understands women's financial needs.
programu aliko mwasiza mutya tukwaniriza nnyo olwaleero lwakuna ennaku z'omwezi ziri 20 mulumu. Yes, 20 mulumu. Ndine Hilda Bahati wetugenda okuweereza nga bwe tutera okukola ku Lwokuna. Kansooke ntumireko Dr. Hassan Kabito azaalibwago. Happy birthday Zaida Ramadhan, Maureen Nalubowa, Tikita nawe Muha Siza muzaaliddwa olwaleero n'abalala bangi betutategeddeeko oba muri ku liste yo naye nammwe happy birthday Hilda. Oli bulungi?
Ndi bulungi.
Okay, kulikayo ewa Carol.
Munange navaayo abantu bonna bannanga abawaddeyo omukono okubanga bayamba. Kisanyusa nnyo okulaba nti abantu balina omutima oguyaayaana okuyamba omuntu era namwe mwenna abatannaba kuvaayo Carol yeetaaga obuyambi.
Ne wamulaba, she's a very strong girl.
She's a strong girl. I got challenged. Okuva n'atandika okumulaba, there's yansomooza nnyo nti mu mbeera ye asobola okusmilinga, asobola okwogera n'abantu, omulaba nti muntu w'abantu ali welcoming. Wadde ebigambo tebivaayo. Attitude ye like simbi. Si ye muntu akumalamu amaanyi nti ngenda kufa. Ye muntu who looks hopeful. Omanyi okuyamba omuntu naye aweddemu amaanyi kiba kizibu. Okuyamba omuntu ali hopeful. She's engaging ne ku social media. Omulaba nti she's posting stuff. Omulaba nti obulamu bwe bugenda maaso. Actually, I'm looking forward to doing some series with her. As in just okuzamu abantu amaanyi. Ne bwabanga tateredde, she has a lot to give to the world because obulumi bwayiseemu, waliwo abantu abatabwiseemu, naye ate kisanyusa nnyo okulaba omuntu nga w'amaanyi nga bw'ali. Yes, n'abatannaba kuvaayo muveeyo mumukwatireko kyonna ky'olina. Yes,
ku Lwomukaaga okwosa enkya. Yes, bagenda kuba booza emmotoka wali ku Panamera okukungaanya ssente ogenda okuyamba Carol yoli omukyala gwe tuzze tubalaga ayina kansa wa mirundi 2 ayagala genda kumujjanjaba omumiro bagutereeze asobola okuddamu okwogera n'okulya emmere. Atasobola genda kwoza motoka oba kuwaayo motoka yo eyozebwe, osobola okuweereza kyonna ky'osobola ku ssimu eno 07 84 16 8 0784 16 81 78 yenamba kosobola okuyita okuyamba Carol atuhiire. Tuli ku programu mwasiza mutya. Okay, program nga bw'olivakuna tubeera tutereeza mitima, twogera ku nsonga za mukwano, nsonga za bulamu in general. Tugezaako okutereeza embeera zaffe n'obulamu bwaffe. Hilda, leero tugenda kwogera ku broken hearts. Emitima egimenyeddwa. Yes, bangi twesanga batukyawa, ndoza abasinga batukyaye oba tulina betukyaye netubalekanga bakaaba n'okubagana.
Abakyaye kizibu nnyo okubanga bakaaba. Akyaye tokaaba okujja kate ng'otuse n'otomera n'ogamba nti ye mabega gye nava singa nsobola okuddayo ate awo obulumi ne butandika. Naye ate obulumi obwo buba bwanjawulo, buba bulumi bwakwejjusa. Tebuba bulumi nti singa ali nange, singa akomawo, omuntu oli oba ogamba nti nze nakuleka bw'oba osobola okuntwala naye ate bw'oba nga tosobola kuntwala. So buba bulumi, it's guilt na regret eyokuba nti kye nalina okukola saakikola nensalawo ekirala.
Naye ate waliwo ne bano nga yakyaye naye nga ayagala obeera awo we yakukyayira waba akulekerawo oba owangaalira. Bw'awulira nti wafunye omulala ye yakukyawa nawulira nga n'omutima guvuddeyo.
Ekyo kyo gye kiri. Naye ate gwe gwe bakyaye okola ki mu kifo ekyo? Kubanga buli weetooloolera awantu awamu omuntu akumanyira nti gw'oli waawo tokyusangako ku bifo. Kubanga ekintu ekimu ku letting go oba moving on, okweyongerayo mu maaso ng'omaze okukyayibwa, si kusigala mu kifo kyekimu ng'okaaba amaziga nga weetooloola. Okyagenda mu bubbala bwe bumu, okyagenda mu bifo bye bimu, okyagenda awakyakalirwa we wamu, okyakola ebintu bye bimu. Kubanga ebintu ebyo bikwongera amaziga n'okukaaba n'okuba nga ogamba nti singa kyali bwe kiti, singa kyali bwe kiti. Ate nga wishes oba okwagaliza oluusi tekutuukirira. Okwagaliza ekintu okubaawo tekitegeeza nti kigenda kutuukirira. Kakati oyo agamba nti njagala obeere awo, gwe kennyini gwagenda okuyimukawo weekunkumuli. Omanye nti wano siwe nina okubeera, I deserve better. Osaana ekisingako ku ekyo kye walina. Bw'abanga oli yali teyakwagala si buzibu bwo. Kubanga tosobola kutwala buvunaanyizibwa olw'ekintu ky'otaakola. gwe balekawo wali oyagala okulwanira relationship eyo wali okyayagala egende mu maaso we waawo oyinza okuba nga walina obuzibu naye wali tonatuuka ku ddala ligamba nti tubiveeko okuggyako nti ng'ensobi yiyo naye ng'ensobi bwebanga teyali yiyo kubanga tujja kutunulako ku taking a responsibility oba okutwala obuvunaanyizibwa obutassa nnyo badeni yonna oba obuvunaanyizibwa bwonna ku muntu oli kumusongamu olugalo okumugamba nti gwe wakola kino gwe wakola kino ayinza okuba naye bw'omutuuza wansi ekintu kyenjize tosobola kuwuliriza sayidi emu n'omatira omala kuwuliriza sayidi zombi kubanga onayinza okugamba oliye mubi yankola bw'ati era nandekawo naye ate nga naye ayina ensonga ze lwaki yakulekawo era bw'omuwuliriza ebiseera ebisinga ogenda okulaba nti by the way waliwo balance oba si kyekyokale one of them yali teyali mulambulukufu mu bintu bye yali ayagala oba test ye yakyuka leero yalina wa brown test n'ekyuka nga ayagala dark chocolate oba nga ayagala waki ebyo nabyo gyebiri love is a gamble era ensonga lwaki buli twayogera ku expectations love omuyingiramu nga bw'onoogamba nti ojja genda mu kasino obetinga esente zo zijja kuddira oba tezikuddire so omutima gwo oguteeka mu mikono gy'omuntu ng'osuubira tagenda gumenya naye ate n'agumenya so ensonga lwaki tulina okusuubira ebintu byombi both results nti bisobola okutambula obulungi ate bisobola obutatambula bulungi naye gwali awo wansi gwe gwennenya sinenye oli akukuumiddewo sijagamba nti lwaki munno omukuumidde awo si ye mukuumi wo tagenda kuteeka mu nsawo atambule naawe tali responsible for you era bwogamba nze am not happy ate tankubira waliwo abantu abanyiiza ate waliwo ebintu nze byenjogerako nga nyiize n'okunyiiga kubanga
obusimu tekasate bukulabika tofaayo
kinyiiza olumu ebintu mbasaagala byogerera kungulu njagala nkubirira eddala wali awaluma ogamba nti omuntu akulemezaawo wansi kikyakusibyeko superglue akugambye nti tolina magulu tosobola kutambula bw'abanga yakulekawo n'akugamba nti ebintu tebigenda kukola ate ng'akyakwagalira awo buli wakubira akasimu no papa buli wakubira akasimu era gwe wuuyo gwalabika gwakola ki nebyo badde otandise okutambuza
mbali n'essuubi nti kankubidde akasimu alabika akyaliwo
kati number 1 njagala tutegere motives zaffe oba ebigendererwa byaffe bw'oba oyawukanye n'omuntu ky'oba osooka okulowoozaako nga kaperiodi ako ak'okukaaba n'okufeesa eminyira kaweddewo ko kalina okubaawo newezinga blanket n'owulyanga atagenda kuva mu blanket eyo oba kwegamba neweebaka ensi n'oyagala ogyerabire okitegeera akaseera ako nga kamaze okuba ate nga akaseera ako tokawanvuya kubanga togenda kukifuna tekigenda kuddira kubanga oli mu buliri tekigenda kuddira nti kubanga okaaba amaziga naye ng'okunyolwa kubaawo kakati lumwa but for a period of time omanye nti omanyi omugezi nina okuvaawo wano ate nentambula
period ya myezi ngena oli maziga oli mu blanket
kakati period eno tetusobola kugipima lwaki kubanga tuli bantu banjawulo bikula byanjawulo byetwetaaga mulamu byanjawulo n'engeri gye tuhandolingamu oba gye tukwatamu obulumi yanjawulo kakati by the way waliwo abantu abakabira emyaka naye ate waliwo abantu abakabira omwezi n'olunaku n'omusanga nga sebo yabuseewo dda takyaliwo
abaali awo akyakaaba ne baba bamukubira essimba nange oli wajja
jangu tutwaleko out amasiga gakomaawo pizza ice cream ogenda okulaba nga ayambadde yekubya obuwoowo
ng'atandikira okwekonsolinga ye obambadde enfaaki nejjamu oli
naye ate ne ekigera ky'obulumi kye tubeera nakyo kisinzira ku banga kiri omaze n'omuntu ono ate kwagala kwenkana ki kubadde naye gyali waliwo abantu oli nangamba nti mbadde naye era ntera nnyo okubuuza abantu obadde naye kumala bbanga ki aga nti mbadde naye myezi esatu si kinene nnyo
naye ng'ali mu myezi 2 ng'akaaba
naye nga ate myezi 2 mwaka mulamba ng'alimiddwa to move on kubanga yalina omuntu myezi 3 jjukira myezi 3 mwaka meeting emirundi nga kale 6 bwe kiba ekinene nnyo bu phone call buba tebuli deep nnyo tanategeera nnyo beewamwe tanategeera nnyo biki
phone calls obusooka nga bwe bubeera deep healed
nedda bu phone calls ate buli deep buki nti nkwagala bubeera museeyeeya naye tebubeeramu makulu nnyo amakulu gali wali ng'amaze okutegeera nti ofuluuta naye nasigala nga kyakukubira essimu. Amakulu gali wali okumanya nti gundi tatuukiridde nga bwe tumulaba wano kungulu. Oba kitegera kubanga ffenna tulina flows zaffe. Tatuukiridde nga wano bwe mulaba kungulu. Naye ate era mwagala, mwetaaga. N'ategeera nti gundi muyombi, gundi aswankula, naye n'asigala era ng'akwagala. N'ategeera nti owunya n'akugulya ka deodorant, naye era n'asigala ng'akyakwagala. Kati era eddala muba temulituuka, mwaba mukyali mu romantic stage eno. Honeymoon. Mutijja obusimu you talk late at night naye mpaka lwoli mukubira nakugamba yi munange ndi busy n'ekiro nagamba aho tulo tunuma asijja kwogera. Ekiseera ekyo kubanga ne levels za love nazo emitendera janjawulo si gyegimu. Kati bw'ongamba nti omaze n'omuntu emyezi 3 ensonga lwaki abantu balumwa nnyo in that bwe tuyingira mu relationship tugeza nnyo okukwatirira abantu ne tugamba nti obulamu bwaffe budipendinga ku bo.
Ntuuse gye nalinda.
Ntuuse we arrive. Oba kitegeera. Kati obulamu bwo tebudipendinga ku muntu mulala yenna. Bwe liba ssanyu gwagendo gyetuusaako, bwe buba yeri pose gye nagamba wetupozinga obulamu ne tugamba nti nze nja kuba musanyufu nga nfunye omuntu. Olumala omufuna n'ogamba nti kati kenfunye. N'okwata empale n'ogamba tondekaawo. Okitegeera. Omuntu oyo bw'akulekawo emyezi 3 ate bwe batyo batandika omukubira akasimu ali bize omukubira ate bintu bino abakulu n'abato babikabiramu. Osanga omwana ali ku campus wa myaka 21 oba wa myaka 2 nga naye akaba amazigo owa 3 oba owana gakaba. Naye nga ali ku 3 ali ku 21 maybe afolinze in love oba agudde mukwano n'omuntu nga wa 38. Mu period ye yali mu kukola ayagala kuzimba ayagala kola ki ate abamu nafolinga in love kibanange tusooke tunyonyola n'okunyonyola omuntu gw'okabira ye muntu kikaaki. Waliwo abakabira basajja bafumbo. Oli najja n'akukwana mufumbo oli muwala muto nakucakazaamu kaawo kakati jjukira omukyala we wakaakaaba tebakyamuwabudde tebakyakola ki wabula gwali mu jeep gwatambula gwe balabako ku mikolo gwe bakola ki olumaze emyezi 3 nga omukubire semagamba ndi bize buli okugamba ali bize takyajja ku hostel takyakola shopping takyakola ki olwo omwana n'agana n'okukola ebibuuzo olw'okuba bamukyayi. Kakati is that worth it? Kibuuzo kyange kubanga tulondemu n'ebintu bye tukabira oba tulondemu n'ebintu bye tugamba nti kati nduddewo to move on kubanga kino kyankosa nnyo. We have to be very selective. Bw'otabeera picky ogenda kukabira every Tom, Dick and Harry oba every Jane, Rose and whoever comes your way. Okitegeera. Kakati tulina okulondamu biki bye tukabira na biki bye tutalina kabira. Ekintu engeri gye kijjamu gy'oli era y'engeri gye tusobola okugendamu. Bwabanga omusajja omufumbo yajja gy'oli ng'alina mukyala we ekitegeeza nawe asobola okuleka ate gwe gwalabidde emyezi 3 bwabanga asobodde okulekawo omukyala wo gwalabidde emyaka 15 gwe gwalabidde emyaka gwalinamu abaana gwe gwalabidde emyezi 3 agenda kuyisa atya ajja kwerabira kusimulemu ne mu ssimu ye ne bwakubira ajjula kugamba wrong number oba si kyekyagiwa muntu mulala
okirabirawo from the word go nti wano mulabanga waali mufuna waali wabataliiwo manya ina jaa
engeri gy'oyingira mu relationship ne bino byokuba nti oyina mukwano gwo boyfriend we oba bbaawe n'akuyita ku mugongo ate naawe n'akwagala ate olumala n'okaaba nti bandeseewo bw'abanga yasobola okuyita mukwano gwo yo best friend ku mugongo n'ajja gy'oli naawe n'akwagala emyezi 2 bwe giyitawo n'akasimu n'agaana okakwata n'ataddamu kwogera naawe nga ne bwakutunuulira akutunuulira ng'ezzike oba ng'omuntu gw'atalabangako tokaaba weeyongerayo
kati gwe tukaabira yaluwa
anti kati gw'okaabira waliwo omuntu okuba nti yajja gy'oli
ono gwe wanyumizaako ne maama wo
anti waliwo abantu bana tulina ebintu bye tulina okulondamu waliwo abantu osobola omukwano muzibu nnyo onyumiza maama wo omusajja omufumbo n'ojja lawona omusajja oli naye nga toyagala kukoona kali ka bufumbo bangi nnyo tubawulidde toyagala kukoona nti mufumbo
kubanga omanyi maami ajja kugamba
ajja kugamba naye agenda mpola okitegeera kubanga naye ajja kutegeera ki ekigenda mu maaso n'agamba nti kakati ali bw'ati akolera oyogera kitongole gy'akolera oyogera ngeri gy'ayambalamu perfume bwe yeekuba ebifo byakutwalamu bichi byayogera kubanga omuntu yena nga nakufuna tayogera byawana abasajja nabo balabufu omuntu yena nakufuna agamba nti njagala tukyale wa maama njagala tukole kino gamba ononno kati olwaleero kamwegabule
olwo yakusomye
nti oyagala bya future naye nabikuweera mu bigambo ne relationships zikolebwa bikolwa kakati omuntu gw'okaabira ye muntu aze gy'oli n'akubuulira amazima kikyali
ate amazima tugategeera kati noono jjukira zaakugambye mbu tugenda tulabe ku maama olwo tandise okukubagana
anti kakati tugenda tulabe ku maama naye anti amazima gali nti akugambye nti mufumbo kubanga waliwo abakitegeera nga bamaze okuyingira relationship naye bw'omala okugitegeera okozeewo ki
kati tubale tutambula nga tangamba nti mufumbo tumala okujingira ndi serious omutima gukinywereddemu ntegeera nti mufumbo maama nga lwaki sikaaba
anti kakati gwalina okusalawo kubanga gwalina okusalawo kikyoyagala yes omutima guba gugenda kuluma lwaki kubanga wakiyingiramu nga tolina guilt yonna oba nga tolina bigambo byonna birala byomanyi alina ebintu byakukweka kati okiyingiddemu okiri mu makkati ate tekikoze kiruma naye ate omanya waliwo consolation gye njagala tufune mu mutima gwaffe nti ekintu ekitalina kukola era tekigenda kukola amazima bwe gamala ne gavaayo weebuuze bimeka byakukwese oba bimeka byeyandikukwese oba okitegeera omuntu kiba kirungi nnyo najja n'akugamba nti nze munnange ndi mulwadde naye noonya mulwadde munnange oli mulwadde okusinga okujja nakugamba nti ate abalwadde be basinga okugamba abantu nti tugende twekebeze waliwo tebaŋŋambye
gwogambe mbu olaba akyesabidde mulamu
alabika mulamu
agenda olulala
moment of weakness nga weewaddeyo ate ogenda okukizuula oluvannyuma okitegerwa abamu abasinga oluusi bataninze out okubeera discordant naye ngaomunno teyakugamba nti actually kino kyekiriwo kakati weebuuze bimeka byeyandikulimbye oba bimeka byalimba mukyala we okubeera ng'ali naawe oba okuba ng'asula ewuwo amugamba ngenze ku trip amugamba ngenze ewa okitegeera omanya nti omuntu alimba olutentezo oba olutatadde era ajja kulimba ate ebirimbo bibikibwako birimbo tewali mazima galibikka ku kulimba kakati nawe bw'otuuka n'ogamba nti omanyi kampima epima obuzito bwa kino ekintu nakisobola sikisobole bwe mba nga sikisobole kisinga wonza okukivaamu kati okusinga okuleka ate ebbanga eddala okugenda mu maaso weewaawo kijja kunnuma naye jjukira bwe weetaggulula ku kintu tekikuluma nnyo okusinga oli bwagira
guba gukikkiriza
n'azuukuka n'akuweereza ka message n'akugamba nti you're straining my marriage gy'oli gwe yajja n'omukwana agamba nti omazeeko emirembe ye yajja n'akukwana oba okitegeera naye omuntu bwakugamba nti akumazeeko emirembe kati awo oyinza okutandika okwebuuliza amanyi bulemu tugiteeka kuffe nali siri mulungi kimala nali simukole yabimusanyusa tukugamba ebibuuzo byeweebuuza bingi mu kaseera aka heartbreak naye ate nga ebibuuzo ebyo togenda kufuna ansa yaabyo era saagala omalire nnyo budde ku bibuuzo by'otagenda kufuna abamu abasinga bagamba njagala kufuna closure tewali closure gy'ogenda kufuna kubanga kyenjagala okuwulira si kyogenda okuŋŋamba Farida kati wankyayo ogenda kuŋŋamba ki nti wabadde na nnyindo mbi nti wabadde naki waliwo ebintu ebitayogerekeka
sigwe nali nnoonya nakizudde
kakati eyo ansa si ansa eri omuntu ali heartbroken oba nga asiisiriza obusiisiriza ku ngulu
oyongeramu nnyo mu
mba njagala ombuulire ekinyusi kyennyini nti saali mulungi mbuliri nti nali sifumba bulungi nti nali abeewammwe baali tebanjagala oba okitegeera kati ate ekizibu ennyo omuntu okwogera ate ng'oluusi ekintu ekikyusa abantu omutima tebiba na bintu ebyo byonna byonna oyinza okuba omulungi mu birala byonna 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 naye nga mu mutwe waliwo akakyuse ng'ayagalako ku mweru ng'ayagalako ku munene
webagendera ne beesiiga ki max obeta
agamba nti osanga omuntu nga yali muddugavu ate ogenda okumusanga nti gwewali okyeŋŋamba gundi nti detectors bagenda okujja nga wali muddugavu naye nekudetectinga naye ogenda okujja ngaoli mweru naye nga tekutegeera kati olw'okuba nti omuntu yakyusiza obwongo we should not change tokyuka nti omuntu akwagale sigala nga bw'oli omuntu yasalewo oba akwagala nga bw'oli naye ng'ekisingira ddala tegeera gwe kikyoyagala ng'omuntu heartbreak ebaddewo but let's learn to find new beginnings in every end.
Kati tutandikire ku day one bantegezeza obawereza ka message oba choba yebuzabuza ngezako mufuna simufuna ntegedde nti kati ndo nawe kagenda mu lusuubo. What do I do immediately?
Kakati immediately omuntu wabanga akugambye sikiriza nnyo nti enkomerero bankomerero mpaka nga nkitegedde nti nkomerero. Omuntu asobola okujja n'akugamba ekintu naye ng'oluusi takitegeeza. Kati njagala okikakase oba akitegeeza. Kubanga bw'akyogera waliwo abantu abogera ebintu mu busungu. Oyina ensobi gye wakoze. Naye ate ng'okyasobola okulwanirira relationship eyo. Kubanga kyesiyagala emirimu gyange njagala nnyo okusolvinga ebintu oba ebintu okuddawo okutebenkera okusinga okubanga mbisattulula. Kati ekisookerwako sooka omanye kituufu si kituufu. Ate ng'omuntu bw'abanga akyogedde ebikolwa ajja kukolerako ebikolwa ebigenderako. Naye ate naawe bw'oteekamu amanyi n'ogamba omanyi, let me fight one more time for my relationship. Nkole kyonna ekisoboka mmanye to evaluating a relationship. Kubanga waliwo abaze gye ndi ne bajja okwevaluating a relationship ng'oli amugambye nti nkukyaye nga bivuddeko takyakwata n'amasimu. Mugamba nti to evaluating okuva gye twava mpaka kati we tuli wa gye twagala okugenda kiki ekigenda kiki ekitulemeredde then ffe nawe tumanya nti ensonga tezisoboka twawukane mu bulungi. Kati ekisooka is not to give up. Ekisooka omuntu wabanga akugambye ensonga bwetyo kwe kubuuza kiki ekigenda mu maaso kiki ensobola okukola ekyenjawulo ekisobola okubeesawo relationship eno. Bw'abanga akulagidde ddala ate nga abangi kufe batulaze okumala ebbanga ddene oli n'akulaga nti takuliiko takyalina budde bwo n'akasimu takakwata. Omuntu bw'aba talina budde bwo wakiri akwate ku ssimu n'akasimu takyakakwata. Bw'akuweereza message nti I will call you back atwala wiki namba nga takukubidde. Waliwo ezo nga it's self explanatory okiraba naawe mu buntu nti omuntu ono actually ankooye. Kakati awo distance olina okutwala eddala sikamu ddako emabega osooka okitunuulire. Omuntu akwagala whenever you take a step back akugoberera newankubadde essaawa eyo ayina ebimutabula ayina ebigenda mu maaso ayina abawala abamucyankalanya oba ayina abakyala abamucyankalanya. Bw'otakinga a step back oba we empowerinze weewadde amaanyi nti omuntu ono bw'abanga ddala anjagala atakinga a step anoonye. Bw'abanga tanjagala well and good riddance agenda akola ebibye nange nkola ebyange. Kati creating our space for someone to miss you, for someone okulowooza ku relationship eno agijjukire alabe oba ekyalimu amakulu alabe oba akyagyetaaga. Naye nga kino tagenda kukikola ng'omuli ku lusegere buli kaseera omunaaginga. Ate twali twagalana togenda kusanga mulala anjagala nga gwe nga nze bwe nkwagala ani agenda okufumbira waliwo we bagamba nti bambi byokola waliwo omulala asobola
kale ujjukira bu socks bw'obuyulifu bwe nasula n'engula empya
nenkugulira ani anakoleza empale zo ani anakola ki bwaba omwami ye ani anakugulira ebintu byengenda okungambadde nkufaako wano ani agenda okulaba olulwo atandika okulaba ebibi byo n'ebirungi byo n'abikulangira oba okiraba kubanga omuli ku lusegere ate jjukira essaawa waakukyayidde ebikyaya abantu bintu bingi nnyo. Oli ayinza okukyawa olw'okuba ayina gwafunye kati ate oyo aba muzibu kubanga omuliro gweri guba mupya kati gwe bw'omuteekako akasigiri obanga amugamba nti genda naye bw'omuli omuwa distance n'amanya nti ono ntambudde naye emyaka 5 lwaki nesigulya ku muntu gwendabye omwezi ogumu omuwe ekiseera okureflectinga n'okulowooza naye buli omubeera ku bampa era tokyampa budde tokyankola kyogenda okulanga obusimu abuzikiza okugenda okulanga esimu azijjako obudde takyalina bubwo. Kati ekisingako detach weewe space nga bw'olowooza ku motives zo naawe nawe we-evaluating omuntu bw'abanga azze n'akugamba nti nkukyaye we-evaluating nange mwagala oba simwagala kubanga abamu ku ffe tetumanyi na kye twagala kiki oyagala ng'omuntu
is he worth fighting for bw'abanga atuuse watuuka n'akijja mu kamwa ngenje kyentera okugamba abantu toyogera nga kintu nga tokitegeeza. Omuntu bw'akugamba nti let's break up oluusi aba akitegeeza oluusi aba takitegeeza naye bweweewa akabanga nawe n'olowooza n'ogamba nti naye ebintu bino engeri gye tutambulamu kati nsobola okubigumiikiriza bw'abanga asigadde nga ye muntu y'omu
nsobola omugumiikiriza nsobola okubeera naye emyaka 3 ejijja mu maaso oba neetaaga nange okukyusa ku ngeri gye ndabamu ebintu omuntu ono ndi obsessed naye oba mwagala okwagala okutuufu kubanga omuntu ali obsessed talaba akakyamu konna abeebweru basobola okugamba banange omwami ng'akulinyeeko oba ng'omukyala akuyitiriddeko
ayinza n'okusanga ne boyfriend woba omwami wo ye n'agamba oyo brother we
bakugamba tulaba bye twagala bye tutayagala tetubiraba tetubyesembereza na byesembereza naye ddako emabega weebuuza ebibuuzo ebituufu by'olina okwebuuza.
Okay, tukyagenda maaso tuline Bahati Hilda twogera ku nsonga za mukwano. Are you heartbroken? How do you get over that? Temuvaawo kati omulemu katana nnyo.
The Ministry of Health wishes to notify the general public that the wild polio virus is still circulating in some countries bordering Uganda. The cross-border population movements due to insecurity and trade put our country at risk of getting polio. Therefore, the Ministry of Health and partners will conduct a polio house-to-house immunization campaign on Saturday the 23rd, Sunday 24th and Monday 25th of April 2016 in the following districts of Uganda: Adjumani, Aleptong, Amolata, Amudat, Amuru, Apach, Arua, Bududa, Bujiri, Buko, Bulambuli, Bulisa, Bundibujo, Buyende, Dokolo, Hoima, Ibanda, Iganga, Isingiro, Jinja, Kabong, Kabale, Kabarole, Kaliro, Kampala, Kamuli, Kamwenge, Kanungu, Kapchora, Kasese, Chivale, Chiriandongo, Kisoro, Kitgum, Koboko, Kole, Chegegwa, Chenjojo, Queen, Lamuo, Lira, Luka, Manafwa, Maracha, Masindi, Mayuge, Mbale, Moyo, Nakapiripirit, Namaingo, Namutumba, Nebi, Ntoroko, Oyam, Otuke, Rakai, Rukunjiri, Sironko, Wakiso, Yumbe, and Zombo.
Parents and guardians, please ensure that all your children below 5 years of age are immunized against polio during house-to-house immunization campaign. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
Taste the feeling.
Do not miss the live broadcast of the Situation Room this Saturday at 3 p.m. discussing the NRM Manifesto and youth healthcare issues. The venue is Heritage Courts, Arua, and the general public is invited. The Situation Room is supported by
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All are rising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
Hilda tugambye nga wakakitegera bot. Take a step back.
Take a step back.
Tandika okwerowoozaako, evaluate yourself.
Ntera nnyo okukiyita retreating and regrouping. Omanyi nga bw'ono ogenda ku battlefront ne mukizuula nti omulabe we alina ebyokulwanyisa by'amaanyi nnyo okusinga lutalo. Love is a battle. You are the battlefront. Naye tomanyi kyakuexpectinga anytime esasi likuyitamu. Kakati bw'omala okutegeera nti actually ebyokulwanyisa bye mubadde mulina bye balina mubadde temubisuubira, komanda wamwe asobola obbagamba nti muddeko emabega tu regrouping, tumanye tubanganga tutya oba how do we attack from this point on. Kakati nawe you regroup. Mu regrouping ono ekiyamba ennyo bw'obanga osobola okufuna omuntu asobola okwogera naawe naye nga asobola okulaba all angles of your life kubanga ye ali neutral. Jjukira bw'obeera ng'oli emotionally involved n'omuntu tosobola nnyo kulowooza clearly kubanga emotions zo zine engeri gye zikukavaringa. Ate kakati kino kiri ku side zombi. Bw'obanga oli mwami you're so logical. Omwami ye it's a straight line. Kati ye bw'obanga bamugambye bakukyaye waliwo abalina ego nga y'amaanyi nnyo nga ye talina kirala bw'aba nkyaye tebugasa. Bitereke somewhere, get a box ogisiilinge ogiteeke somewhere oba si ekyo omugambe come for your items. Oba si kyekyo biteeke mu motoka oba biteeke ku boda oba biteeke ku ki obidelivering abisangeyo ewuwe. Omanye nti yo totally clutter oyo kafankunaali yenna. Nedda emboozi zirina okuviirawo ddala. Like seriously, let's stop rehearsing kubiddinganamu nga bwe bagamba nti addingana amawulu agajjamu omukuto kati nawe addingana amaziga omala n'ofaananira ddala bubi nga tewali akyasobola kutunulako nga buli lw'otunula olabika ng'agenda okukaaba nga buli tekigasa.
Okay. Essimu tuziggudewo oli wa ddembe okuba n'obaako ky'otutegeeza naawe ali muntu ali mu heartbreak saawa eno sobola tubuuliramuko Hilda n'akuwa free counselling nga totawaanye wadde okumukubira oba okumutuukirira. Hilda olwo wanaagamba Monica Feza agamba Farida mbuuliza ku Madamu Bahati nti kisoboka okwezza ew'omusajja gwe mwakyankalana naye olw'omukyalo omulala ate n'okizuula nti eyabaawukanya yafumba ewuwo. Okay.
Tubukola tewali kyuma mulago kyogamba nti bagende basiimulemu omuntu omulala osobola okubeera ne gap y'omuntu omulala. Kati ekintu ekyo omuntu bw'abanga akugambye nti takwagala waliwo eyasoose okugamba okwezza ew'omusajja ayina byakoze akukyankalanyiza akugambye situla ebibyo ogende genda sikwagala mu maka gange akoze kyonna kyasobola takyakomawo waka emmere yo takyagirya n'oluusi n'atuuka ku point nga n'ekyokulya takyakikuwa n'otambula n'ogenda n'otuuka eyo omutima ne gukuluma n'ogamba nti kankomewo. Kakati oba okomyewo mu mbeera ki takuyise takunonyeeyo ekitiibwa kyo nabe wammwe baba tebakutegeera. Omuntu bw'abanga ddala akwagala kyekyo kye nagambye leka abeeko omutango gw'asasula olw'okukwagala.
Mutambuze kannaginaji
agambe nti omanyi kaŋŋende ate nga bangi nnyo betupevinze ways nabo ng'oli najja nakugamba nti banange njagala kuno naye omukyala wange naye kakati nkole ntya njagala kola ki njagala kuddayo eri omwami wange naye ate nze yamukosa ntandikirewa. Okiraba kakati omuntu buli lwabaako ekintu kyakolere ekintu kyoyagala okisasuulira omutango.
Okay. Aliko simu hello. Hello.
Farida. n'amaliza ng'asibye ebintu ng'agenze waabwe mu mwaka nanoba emirundi nga 7 naye nga seyeekomyawo kubanga ensonga emunobya teyina ggumba oba wamagezi ki
gwe tomukima
mwambala jini ndero wamaggwa
mwambala jini mukyala wo tomukima ng'anobye
si wange ate kyakulabirako naye nga baneighbours bange mbiraba nnyo bambi
kale sebo webale nnyo omulala hello
Farida, mwasiza mtya?
Twasiza bulungi mukwano wasiza otya?
Bulungi. Kakati nze Rachel.
Yes, Rachel.
Ne kakati nze nina omwami mufumbo mudagala.
Wangi?
Nina omwami mufumbo.
Omwami mufumbo mudagala.
Omwami mufumbo?
Naye ate nagenda okuzibula ng'ate kugamba nze yalibadde second wife ate ayinayo walugula. Kakati yawugamba kireke naye kasabira ndaka wamasimu agamba bola agala kati obamba mulatya
bali basatu bagiyitako zibati eyo kyerabire kigambo hello wankisebo
wasiza madam Farida
twasize bulungi wasiza otya
ono musuza Ivan.
Yes, Ivan.
Kati madam Farida. Webale nnyo okuleeta ogwo omulama mulungi nnyo. Hello?
Tukuwulira mukwano.
Kati madam Farida omanyi obutamenyeka nnyo omutima kyenkola. Bw'oba obadde oba mukwano nga ndi mukwano gwo ku Facebook. Oba nga nina WhatsApp namba yo. Kati kyenkola. Nsooka nenderiitinga ebyo kubanga ojja kuteekangako obufaananyi obunchalenjinga kati oyinza okuteekako n'omusajja onchalenjinga ekiringa kinuma kati kyenkola nsooka nenderiitinga ebyo naye mba ngaakwerabiddeku munde mu bwongo bwange naye kasana nkulekako n'oba nga onchalenjinga njakuba nange nengera gwe bachalenjinza kati nkusangulamu naye mba nga sitolinawo onchalenjingira
chapter n'ogiggalawo
chapter obojigadde naye kasita omulekako ku Facebook ajja kuteekangako obufaananyi nga beekutte n'omusajja naawe kikunulira eyo kati amubulookinze ne ku WhatsApp gwoba osinga.
Okay, kale webale nnyo Ivan. Omulala omubabiri tuwumulemu. Hello. Okay. Okunobaanoba Hilda.
Okunobaanoba kakati omuntu oyo ekisookerwako wamufuna otya weyanobaanoba wamufuna otya ekyokubiri wa myaka emeka
mukyala mukulu
anti kakati omukyalo kisoboka okuba nga mukyala mukulu naye ewaabwe like omanyiko oyina background gyomanyiko ewaabwe tutwala nnyo abantu nga tetumanyi bantu kika ki betututte ate n'ekirala nga tosoose namudeetinga kumanya waliwo abasajja bagamba nti nze mulaba mu myezi 2 bwe mba musiimye nga mutwala waka nga mbeera naye omukyala gw'ojje ewaka mu kitiibwa kiba kizibu nnyo okujjako nga neewaabwe nga waliyo obuzibu okugamba nti ajja kunoba maama we amugambe ye munange kulikayo mwana wange teeka wano ebintu ekitanda kyo kikyaliwo weebake era okomyewo buzibu ki nti nakooyeemu neweebaka olumala ka wiiki ng'omala ng'ositula ebibyo ekitegeeza n'abeewammwe tebafaayo abazadde tulina ebintu bye tulina okuyiga yes weewaawo nze kati sinatuuka eyo gamba nti otuuka n'owaayo omwana wo naye ate charity begins at home n'engeri omwana wo gyagenda okurepresentingamu amakaago kakati omuntu anobaanoba ekitegeeza asobola okuba omukulu mu mubiri naye nga muto mu birowoozo ate asobola okuba nga engeri gye wamuleetamu nga tewamujja waabwe omuntu amujja ewaabwe bw'otuula ne brother we oba ne mukodomi wo oba ne taata sezaala wo mugamba nti naye ensonga eno sigitegeera omwana ono buli anaabeerawo obuzibu eka buli wabadde ng'alina obuzibu abadde adduka awaka n'agenda ewaka n'avaawo ewammwe lwaki ewange bw'aba nga njagala ng'ayagala tukola amaka buli bwe kibaayo ekizibu yekitegeeza bw'oba omugyeyo bulungi lw'osobola okukikola naye bw'oba tomugyeyo bulungi wamusanga ku ssomero ali mu kasikaati ka ssomero n'omukwanira ku kkubo n'afuna olubuto n'omuleeta ewaka akimanyi tewali kitiibwa kyonna abeewaabwe tebakumanyi so essaawa yonna asobola okudda ewaabwe asobola okukola ki naye bw'abanga akikola nga bamugjayo bulungi naye nga n'abazadde be bagenda maaso n'okukiwagira manya nti ekikula kye ye muntu atassaamu kitiibwa buyinza kubanga omuntu balo asobola okukunenya ate naawe omukyalo osobola okunenya balo mu ngeri ennungi mu approach ennungi naye asobola okunenya n'akugamba nti kino si kirungi ebintu bw'obyoza nga bisigalako sabbuuni emmere bw'ogisaanika ng'ekona mu wiiki tulyamu mmere ya mirundi ebiri erabikako bulungi ate bw'aba akikugambye oba oyina kukyusa kati omuntu oyo akyali muto omundowooza ayina eddala lyatanaba kutuukako ekitegeeza yeetaaga omuntu okumwogereramu oba okumubuulirira n'amubuulirira n'agamba nti bw'oba ng'otuusa okufumba omukka oyingira mu kiyungu omukka ne gugira ate todduka buddusi onoonya enku ezisobola okwaka bw'oba nga lukule lusasobola kwaka luleeta omukka n'olugjamu okitegeera kakati omuntu oyo yeetaaga kubuulirirwa tewali kitala kyosobola kumukolera naye yeetaaga kubuulirirwa.
Okay. Tukyagenda maaso katudde mutuwummulemu katono nnyo tavaawo tuli ne Bahati Hilda.
The Ministry of Health wishes to notify the general public that the wild polio virus is still circulating in some countries bordering Uganda. The cross-border population movements due to insecurity and trade put our country at risk of getting polio. Therefore, the Ministry of Health and partners will conduct a polio house-to-house immunization campaign on Saturday the 23rd, Sunday 24th and Monday 25th of April 2016 in the following districts of Uganda: Adjumani, Alepton, Amolata, Amudat, Amuru, Apach, Arua, Bududa, Bujiri, Buko, Bulambuli, Bulisa, Bundibujo, Buyende, Dokolo, Hoima, Ibanda, Iganga, Isingiro, Jinja, Kabong, Kabale, Kabarole, Kaliro, Kampala, Kamuli, Kamwenge, Kanungu, Kapchora, Kasese, Chivale, Chiriandongo, Kisoro, Kitgum, Koboko, Kole, Chegegwa, Chenjojo, Queen, Lamuo, Lira, Luka, Manafwa, Maracha, Masindi, Mayuge, Mbale, Moyo, Nakapiripirit, Namaingo, Namutumba, Nebi, Ntoroko, Oyam, Otuke, Rakai, Rukunjiri, Sironko, Wakiso, Yumbe, and Zombo.
Parents and guardians, please ensure that all your children below 5 years of age are immunized against polio during house-to-house immunization campaign. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
This is you. Your friends. Your family. Your fellow Ugandans. All are rising. Because when people get information that is incisive, in-depth, and analytical, people take action. People create change. NTV News. Moving Uganda.
Why don't you go and they hire you in a construction company as the rogue that blocks the road that is under construction? And we know that finally you are putting your size to use. It's not your fault, so it's our fault. It's our fault us who are walking. Do you even pay road license? Because the space you use is for big trucks. No, seriously. Seriously, be careful. This is a road for local people. Please, whose bed are you going to? Jesus, what is this? At least later is where someone can put a bin between your toes and it will grow.
webale nnyo okwekumiraako NTV olwono ka message ku Facebook akanseseza kava wa Shaba videos agamba omulama gwa leero gonzijukiriza bye nayitamu okufuna Mama Raihan mu butuufu obukyayi bulinga butujju obukyayi bulabika buluma nnyo
terrorist
oyinza okukola pulaani z'otatuukiriza ne z'onaatuukiriza waliwo wano omukyala abuuzizza mukwano Hilda nsaba kuyambibwa. Hilda n'obeera n'omuntu naye nga bw'okuba essimu ye taligikwata ne bw'omubiipi nga tali kukubirako agambe nti obadde ogamba ki ddala oba olabawo laavu awo si bwe wangamba bakunyiiza
abo banyiiza manyi watuwo otuuka noyagala that's not love kubanga omuntu akwagala communication kintu kikulu
I think that's desperation
okubeera desperate bw'ogumiikiriza embeera eyo obeera desperate ng'olinga agamba nti togenda kufunayo omuntu mulala agenda okwagala naye omuntu omukubidde essimu kati singa obadde n'obuzibu n'omukubira essimu ekitegeeza tagenda kukwata ate omuntu nabagamba omuntu atakwata ssimu abeerako n'ekimukipinze busy ndi I'm a busy person ne bwe mbeera mu office olunaku luyinza okuziba nga sisobodde kwata ssimu ziwerako nga nsobodde kwata ntono ate in between meetings nga nva mu kino nzira mu kiri naye era bwe nsangako ka missed call sometimes nziramu n'enkuba neŋŋamba nti munange nasanzeko ka missed call oli bulungi okitegeera naye ate omuntu tali busy ne bwaba busy kale addemu akukubire ate omuntu waliwo abalina priorities waliwo abali ku simu nga bali ku speed dial nga oli ne bwakuba nga ye ne personal assistant akimanyi nti abo bajja direct oba okitegeera abantu abandi okumpi nga bo sisobola bagamba nti balinde oba sisobola basindiikiriza kakati omuntu gw'oyagala obeera wakulusegere okujjako maama we ne taata we ne baganda be gw'omulala gwatuukirako bw'aba takwata masimu go takwagala oba sitakuliiko oba waliwo ekitwala attention ye
okay aliko simu hello tukutte
hello
sebo
hello
wangi sebo tukuwulira
amanya Mante Godfrey Munatete
yesebo
ati omulama gwa leero ngenyo kwakunkwata nkingamba omulama gwa leero gunkwatireko ddala
gutya bakukyaye
sibai byendimu bwekubanga zino omumwagala wange yankwatamu ensobi emu yansanga nga nyimire kale yali nyimire ne oji wange yali musanyufu kuba mitinze oji wange naye embeera gyalusangamu yali amanyi mwagala wange
olabona nagira
kati ennaku zino essimu nkuba akwata naye abeera mu kuyomba kati simanyi nsobola kumujja
yabasanga muyimiridde
yabasanga mu compromising situation mwali mukisinga mwali mwekutte mu kiwato mwali muyimiridde buyimirizi
siweguli yansanga ewange ku dduuka yali musanyufu nnyo nange namusanyukirako nga oji wange naye wabuuza wange yali naye ajja ali mu kkubo ensisinkano eyo teyali nnungi ku maaso ge ennaku zino tetuli bumu era yangambye ayagala breaking simanyi oba kijja ku mutima oba kikintu kyayagala
kale katukuddemu
ekiri kyogambye fight for it
anti kakati awo you fight for it naye ate waliwo ekintu kyenjagala okutangazaamu waliwo abantu nga ate bombi side zombi abami n'abakyala nga tulina ebbuba ebitategeerekeka waliwo ebintu nga itself like kiri mu glass ate n'ekirala omuntu bw'abanga abadde amukwana yandimuleese ku dduuka alye oba okitegeera naye aba mugezi okugezaako okukwekakweka oba okugezaako okukola kimu ate omuntu bw'abanga akunnyonnyodde n'akugamba nti oyo ogi wange wakamulaba gwe gusoose naye all of a sudden mind yo egenda mangu amwagala kakati njagala omuntu akujja mu makaago oba akujja mu relationship yo bw'obanga oyombedde omuntu y'omu okumala mwaka mulamba buli akabaawo gwalina ekifaananyi kyeki ng'ali obwereere gwamusanga bekutte mu kiwato gwafune kugamba nga waliwo episodes ezikulaga nti 1+1 equals nti abantu bano beyagala oba okitegeera ekyo kyo tewali agenda kukuba mukono bw'osalawo n'ogamba nti omanyi kintu tekirina gye kigenda genda tukireke naye omuntu bw'oba omukwatidde ate ng'eyo sigiyita nsobi eyo si nsobi ekimuyisa ensobi omwami ono bw'abadde ng'ayogera omanyi I detect abantu he's a lover boy he's a good boy like ayagala nnyo omuntu beyond what he loves himself kubanga awo bw'osanga omuntu bano betwandiise ba bad boy akugamba nti she's my OG you take it or leave it and if you want out of the relationship walk out oba okitegeera sigenda kwegayirira nnyo kubanga siri mu nsobi eno si buzibu nja kusanga ba OG bange nja kusanga ne ex wange nyimirire naye njogere naye olusi mutwaleko ne kachayi naye nga tekitegeeza nti waliwo ekigenda maaso so abamu ku ffe tulina okutuuka wetu abakyala bamu baagala tough love bwoba togimuwadde nga n'ogenda maaso tandika ate munnange kakati nakoze ensobi nyingi nnyo zempulira naye nga si nsobi okusanga ogiwo si nsobi era tolina kyetondera omugamba bugambi nti ono ogi wange bwoba ndela ng'okimanyi nti tewali kigenda mu maaso omugamba nti ono ogi wange okujjako ng'alina ekirala ekimuyombe ate okujjako ng'omuntu anoonya nsonga waliwo abanoonya ensonga ey'oku breaking up nga tagiraba ama nti bambi abadde mulungi ng'abadde abeerawo naddala ng'omuntu bambi abadde mwagazi ayagala anjagala nnyo bintama n'okuntama biki okitegeera n'anoonyayo akasobi nagamba kati leero namusanze ayimiridde n'omukazi kati kamugambe we are breaking up nenga naye abadde anoonya kasonga kakwekwasa naye okubeera ne OGO is not a problem munnyonnyole ate
muweza okusanga naye ali eyagamba nabadde njagala ndage mbwa nfaako nnyo
omuwala anti kakati omulenzi bw'aba agamba nti nkukubidde essimu tokwata ate buli wokwata oyomba naye ekintu ekyokuyomba tekina kyekisolvinga in the short run wewawo tuba tulya tulina amaanyi twagala okwogera to express ourselves naye osobola okwe-expressinga yourself nga toyombye osobola okutunuulira omuntu mu maaso n'omugamba nti omanyi kyewakoze tekyansanyusizza sikyagala era I would prefer next time ogezeeko okukikyusaako bwe tunaba nga tunatambula babiri nze bw'okola bwekiti ne bwekiti mba mpulira bwenti ne bwenti mampulira ng'ontyobodde otombala mu kitiibwa tombala mu magezi
ali ku simu hello hello
Hello.
Wanji.
Sorry.
Wanji nyabo.
Ugamba ka sorry.
Wanji.
Yoba omwali mu
Wanji. TV yo ye kuchankalanya.
Hello.
Sebo.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fair. I'm grateful to pass through today. This is Akiki.
Okay.
Now, today's program is really interesting, and I have been a victim of this scenario which we are describing today. I had a breakup at the end of last year, and just to summarize, it made me really even to lose weight. I was not even performing at work. I was just in the situation of getting mad. However, I'm trying to recover from it. The relationship I had came to an end as a result of an abortion which my girlfriend made. And I have really struggled to get out of it. But in a nutshell, I really need help from the counselor, Bahati, on how really I can move on and definitely come up with a better relationship that will be lasting for me. I must say I'm a good boy, just like she's describing. I commit in a lot in a relationship, and I'm looking at my timing. I'm 30 and I need really to have something stable for me. I would really be grateful to have her, the counselor, and equally you to tackle this for me. I'm really in problems. I have a job which is stable for me, and I see my future as bright as I see it.
Okay. Sorry about that, but I think we shall be giving you Hilda's number. You get in touch and talk one-on-one. Okay?
This issue, But as Sulide bulungi kwe bava naye issue yaba good boy ate kati ndowooza we will get time twogereko ba good boys, the wrong things that they do mu mukwano ebibaleetera okuba nga people take them for granted. Buli bw'oweesa nnyo ku muntu n'omwekubako n'omulaga nnyo nti you're overcommitting, waliwo abawala nzudde, we have a generation of young girls abaagala unavailable men. Nga ye ayagala musajja ali unavailable,
ayagala kugobako,
ayagala akugobeko akukyesingeko. They want that thrill of tanjagala bulungi, ajja tajja tankubira simu takola ki, nga bye bye baagala okitegeera. Naye ate n'omugamba nti this good boy is a father, is a husband, is a lover, is a person who is going to agenda okubeerawo lubeerera okitegeera. Ate nga buli lw'oyagala okukyusa a good boy into a bad boy, there is a chance nti ogenda kumuluzinga, nti ogenda kuluzinga the authenticity ey'omuntu oyo ate afuukire ddala mubi. Ndowooza waliwo balabyeko the extreme bad boys, nga ye buli gwasanga akubako obukubi n'agenda, buli gwakola ki kwegamba takyafaayo, agamba nange bamenyamenya dde omutima, they took me for granted, nange kankole bino ebyokubira omuntu akasimu n'ogamba do you love me ng'oli musajja. Kati kankubuuze omusajja nakukubira Farida, do you love me? Are you sure? Kati gwokirago otya? Nange ndagaako nti onjagala. Oba kitegeera, as in after some time you're like, I need a man who is strong. A man, njagala nze mbambuuza omwami, do you love me? Prove it. Oba kitegeera, ndyoke ntandika okwogera nti munnange I love you so much, ndyoke netotuleko ng'omuwala sizze ng'okola ki. Naye ate the good boys balina balance gye balaakinga in them ebaleetera okuba nga balinyirirwako, and yet they are very good people. So I think sometime tujja kukyogerako. Naye nga we will give you the number okube twogere one on one osobola okuba nga okivuunuka.
Kale tukwate esimu endala bbiri. Hello, twasize bulungi sebo, wasize otya?
Nasize bulungi. Njagala okutuuka abantu b'omukyalo oyo.
Oyagala kukola ki?
Ntuuka abantu b'omukyalo.
Nsebo.
Nti amaka gafa akoze bulungi okugatusaamu oba okukana nabo. Era njagala okwebaka n'obutaggwamu maanyi ku musajja yali amumalamu amaanyi okumusomo bagenda okuba nga kusoma.
Amina sebo. Hilda abantu bakuwanye wano naye byonna byonna sigenda bisoma. Atufune esimu endala basiima bambi. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Jen wanji nyabo.
Hello.
Hello, tukuulira. Twasize bulungi, wasize otya?
Bambi nina ekibuuzo kye njagala okubuuza counselling. Nali nafumbirwako, ndina abaana babiri nazzala ne bba wange. But okay, we were not really happy in the relations. Because I broke up with him. It's almost like 5 years. But coming back and but bothering me. But all this time, I managed to move on, and I already forgot about him. But he keeps nagging me. Even in my new relationship, he keeps threatening. Kati, seriously,
Threatening to do what?
Like, he's always like, he's going to fight the guy. He can't accept the relationship I have. In fact, n'abaana yaleetera awo balabirira. I'm the one taking care of the kids, their fees and everything. Kwegamba ye yagamba, since you decided to leave me, let you take care of the kids. Nze kati I'm not their father.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kati ye moving on yawasa?
Nedda.
Sanava.
Okay, well, tugenda kuddamu.
She's in a situation.
She's in a different relationship after 5 years. Kati 5 years oli akomawo ate ayagala okubanga
ategedde mbu
alina omuntu omulala ate n'abaana n'abeegaana. Kakati kambuuze bw'obanga oyagala kuzzaawo oba kutundira lutindo olwamenyeka ate n'oyagala okubanga omuntu oli omulaga nti oyagala kumukosa kati yakola atya atunule emabega eri omutujju oba agende maaso n'obulamu bwe. Ate n'ekirala omuntu bw'agamba nti ayagala kusabotaginga relationship yange ayagala kukola ki abantu ffe tubawa amaanyi okukola bye batukola. No one can hurt your new relationship without your consent.
True.
Kubanga you have all means. Osobola okublocking omuntu, osobola you can get a new number, you can, as in there are so many things to do. Ate n'ekirala omuntu ono gw'oli naye okumu preparinga. N'omugamba nti omuntu gwe nali naye 5 years back gwe twayakana naye akomyewo naye agezaako okukola ebintu ebiri funny bye sitegeera. So bw'olaba ebintu eby'e bit funny n'obeera mugufu gy'ali. Oli ne bwakuba essimu banaafuna essimu ye empya n'omugamba nti wuuno yakuba. Oba wuuno yakola kikakana ka message ke yaweereza kakano kugamba mubeere in the journey together. You protect omuntu gw'oli naye kubanga kati gwatindira gwali makati gaabo bombi. Naye nga tosobola kutunula amabega eri omusajja agamba ne bw'abanga kupursuinga kale akupursuinga ngakola bulungi. Waliwo abantu ebintu bino abatabiteeka mu logic at all. Bw'aba omuntu akupursuinga agezeeko abaana batwaleko out abagulire engoye abasasula school fees kugamba nja kusasula ennyumba mwe mubeera alabirira abaana be
kugana olowooze mpata kwengera n'omuntu omupya ono taata w'abaana abika yeenenyeza
naye omuntu agamba nti abaana si bange kati oddayo kukola ki? You have no reason for looking back kubanga clearly si babe gw'obaweerera school fees. You deserve to be happy. So you bring your own happiness. So if you're kutunula emabega, that is not an option. Okujjako nga he stepped up his game. Ate n'ekirala omuntu ali capable of saying that means that never stepping up his game era ajja kudda mu personality tekyuka. Omuntu asobola okwegana omusayi gw'azadde because omukyala amuvudde bawukanye naye ye muntu atasobola kutwala gwe nga gwe gw'ataazaala gwe yasanga mu bukulu agenda ku treating atya.
Okay. Rachel Mkono yabadde abooza they are stuck. She's stuck in a relationship n'omwami omufumbo ate ng'omwami yali alinayo side dish endala bali basatu.
Anti kakati omwami kiki ekikutawaanya lwakuba omwami alina side dish endala kubanga omukyala asooka oyo maybe kyeyandikutawaanyiza kubanga wamusanga mu maka
teyamanya nti gyali.
Bw'abanga tewamanya gyali lwe wamanya wakola ki
wakikkiriza.
Kati bw'obanga wakikkiriza kyekyo kye nagamba you accept something and tolerate it and accommodate it
and live with it.
You keep quiet. Notabaako gw'ogamba. Kaakati bw'omanya nti yafuna asooka kiki ekyamujja ku asooka afune gwe owookubiri ate probability ekyo sometimes tetukola risk assessment ne mu relationship mulimu risk assessment okugamba nti omuntu ono bw'abanga yava ku oli nadda ku ono nadda ku nze there is a high possibility nti asobola okuva ku nze nadda ku mulala n'omanya nti nja kigumira era n'okikkiriza ng'okimanyi ojja kigumira kubanga oli ne bw'ona omubuuza ne bagamba nti kati munange Joseph onoofunayo omukyalo omulala nti sisobola wadde sisobola okufiira mu kitooke kya gonja kati yakugamba eki olowooza musiru akugambe nti ngenda kufunayo omukyalo omulala nedda naye emotions we ziri kuba ng'alabyeyo ow'ebbeere eddene nga naye akola ki ng'amwagala kakati that is you accepted something oli mu mbeera bw'obanga gwe first wife nokkiriza omwami ono ne mwezimba ne mukola ki oyinza okuŋŋamba nti bahati I didn't see this coming oba okitegeera kubanga nsi yasookawo sino saakiraba era nali sirina ngeri gye reactingamu naye bw'obanga wayingirira munno manya nti waliwo omulala agenda okuyingirira. Yes.
Waliwo Hailey wanagamba hi sweet ladies mukyala Hilda nali njagala nnyo ex wange naye anjagala naye bwe yafuna ssente yafuna omuwala mu weeks 2 nga muwasizza mu maka gange wayise omwaka naye it's still hard for me to believe that it actually happened.
Kati what's hard to believe manyi okulaba kukuba kukkiriza wakiraba nga kibaawo n'olaba omuwala n'omulaba nga bamutadde mu makaago n'olaba nga relationship eweddewo
in
2 weeks nenga boba kababeerawo emyaka nga kwegata kikiriza nti yabeera naye emyaka egisoba cause bayogera batukira okuzimba amaka balina time
it takes us back to expectations waliwo ebintu byetusuubira mu bantu we over expect bw'oba omwesigwa obusuubira nnyo nti ne partner wagenda kuba mwesigwa bw'oba ensonga lwaki abantu balumizibwa mu relationships kati that is the final researched and proven ensonga lwaki tumenyebwa emitima kyetwogerako olwaleero is because we have expectations buli obeera nga tolina expectations za kintu bwekijja n'okikwata nga bwe kiri case by case then your life moves on naye
photocopy your heart and keep the original at home just in case
oweyo guli fake
sawa yonna ojja kwetaaga original yo.
Love is about being vulnerable tosobola kuyingira mu love oberanga eyeyambudde ne weereka nga tewali bukuumi bwonna naye n'osuubira nti omuntu aze mu bulamu bwagenda kukuuma akuuma ekitiibwa kyo aleme kulaalasa ate nga bwekitibwe kiri so you don't go with love nga wetaddeko ebisenge omanyi abantu abetekako ebisenge bankoosa omutima gwamenyeka nenetekako ebisenge saagala ntuukirira era ntuukirira mubuuza gwolina ki ogenda kukola ki emyaka 5 njagala nkwetegereza emyaka nga 8 ndyoke nkuwase nedda tosobola kwetegereza muntu n'omumalayo kuba ne bona omufumbiro tojja muyiga tojja mumalayo so be vulnerable enough to get into a relationship naye leka the balance between being vulnerable and having boundaries yekuyamba okumanya nti eno yensale yange kino kyensobola okukola kino kyensuubira kino si kyensuubira ate bwe kivaamu obubi era nja kitwala bwe kivaamu obulungi katonda yeebazibwe
okay those are tukwate endoze simu nga bbiri
okay
hello baika batongeddemu obudde hello
Hello.
Sebo.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay. Now, my question is a bit fair.
Yes, Sebo.
I decided to stay alone.
You did what?
Decided to stay alone.
Okay.
I have 2 kids and I'm alone and I find it very comfortable.
Okay.
I have developed to be a women.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
30.
Yeah.
Okay. How old are the kids?
My kids are now 9.
9?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I brought my house is from a family member. They see as if I'm wrecked myself. And I don't see it myself. And I find myself very comfortable and I don't mind it.
But do you feel like you will ever fall in love again?
That is the question. I have to get an answer more.
Okay.
Because I have that fear. Maybe the same may happen.
Okay. Then let's explain that fear to you.
What is his fear?
Kakati, his fear is yayingira mukwano nga muto. Bw'oyingira mukwano nga muto, bw'omenyebwa omutima oba if something goes wrong, ne kibaawo ngeri gy'otakisuubidde, shock eba nnene nnyo. Okitegeera. Kati shock mu kubeera ennene olemererwa okugikwata. Bwe mba nga mwawukanye ng'oli muntu eyali ayagala abaana ng'omwami n'osigaza abaana abo n'otandika obbalabirira. Fear endala ejjawo eri nti ngenda kufuna omuntu ekisooka naafuna omuntu gwe naayagala naye nga njagala. Ekyokubiri naafuna omuntu ananjagala n'abaana bange. Ekyokusatu naafuna omuntu anaalabirira abaana bange obulungi ate ababonyebonye. Kati ndowooza olaba ebyo ebisenge bingi nnyo okubanga osobola okuba okumala n'olonda omuntu. Ate jjukira omuntu bw'amala okubeera yekka okumala ebbanga eri lyonna. Kubanga bw'abanga ali 30 that means that you gave birth to your child at 21. Wali muto ng'omusajja. You got the shock nomanyira okubeera wekka. Kati bw'omanyira okubeera wekka omanya nina omukozi alabirira abaana bange mbatwala ku ssomero omala nomanyira it becomes routine.
kubanga oyagala bana bo bakule, oyagala kuba protecting, oyagala bakola ki. Kati ekitegeeza n'okufuna omukyalo omulala. Sometimes oyinza n'obutayagala kumuleeta wuwo. Oyinza kwagala munywereyo obuchayi naye nga toyagala kumuleeta wuwo. Olina routine.
Osobola byokolera.
Ogamba kiki kyagenda okwongerako socks zange nzifuna mu budde. Tukugamba tolaba a use for a woman naye ng'okimanyi nti you will need a woman. Kati ekintu ekyo it's a fear that has to be undone kubanga you just learnt it. So you can unlearn it. Bwobanga osobodde okuba essimu tujja kubawa essimu musobole okubanga mukuba we sit down and talk.
Okay, kati yambe ku mwana muwala ono omuto tondowooza. Thanks for the program, Farida. I'm in a situation that my guy left me last year in October, but I have failed to move on cause I loved him so much and we have a 5-year-old daughter. I pleaded for over 8 months and so Ghana. It really hurts me because I really want to move on. I don't know. I really want to move on, but he's our sole provider. So I have to keep talking to him because he has to provide and cater for our needs. Please advise.
Okay.
How old? She didn't.
Maybe in a baby wa myaka 5. Baina baby wa myaka 5 naye agamba she pleaded. That means that she did something.
Sometimes oyinza n'okuba tewakola kyamaanyi naye ng'oli yakoowa.
Kakati there are 2 scenarios. Oli bw'abanga yakoowa no pleading for all that long naye nga tasobola kusonyiwa. Yes, akyalabirira omwami alina obuvunaanyizibwa okulabirira omwana we newankubadde omuvinze on. Waliwo some of us waliwo ebintu byetukola naye nga tetumanyi mateeka oba ddembe lyaffe lya bwebange. Omwami ono newankubadde takyali naawe obuvunaanyizibwa bumukakatako okuba nga alabirira omwana we. Whether you've moved on or not moved on. Kakati kiri eriggwa okutuula ensonga lwaki mbagamba banange let's grow up. We have a lot of growing up to do. Omukyalo ono, you can initiate conversation. Etali yakwegayirira na love. Neno initiating a conversation nomugamba nti I want us to talk about the future of this child. Somero kiri agenda okusomeramu, agenda kuli atya, upkeep ye agenda kubeera etya. Oba okitegeera kubanga newankubadde enkola najeze enkola nange neetaaga obuyambi ng'omuntu. Anti kakati kye tugendako abantu abamu ensonga lwaki they can't move on is because they are financially dependent on someone else. Kiba kizibu nnyo. Naye buli obeera financially independent, ate sigambye financially independent kitegeeza nti olina buwanana. Nedda. Bobanga osobola okufuna ekyokulya buli lunaku nga once in a while oba mu mwezi osobola okufunayo ekyokwambala ate omukyala omwana kyolya bw'oba onywedde mazzi omwana we asobola okunywa amazzi n'abeerawo. That's one thing I learned. Oba olidde muwogo omuwuta osobola okulya omuwogo omuwuta n'omwana we n'alya muwogo omuwuta n'abeerawo. Ekitegeeza omwana ono ojja kumuyigiriza nti you deserve the best out of life and you can walk out mu mbeera eba tekugasiza. Kakati gwe ng'omukyala gwalina okutwala initiative. Naye ate tusobola okukola tailor made solution kugwe nga weka kuba kino kiyinza okuba generalized naye kugwe nga weka bw'ona okuba essimu tujja kusisinkana twogere.
Abantu baleka balina bingi nnyo ebyokukubuuza. Endoza tujja kuddamu tufune Q&A session abantu mukube mutubuulire biki ebizibu byammwe oba ebibasumbuwa Hilda abawe free counselling. Yes, enamba ya Hilda is 0757 117 0 musanvu 5 musanvu 11 musanvu bagenda kungamba najanguyiza.
Yes, nabali ku mikutu gya internet osobola okusachinga Bahati Hilda ojja kubanga ofuna nebinkwatako na social media platforms.
Yes, Bahati Hilda ku Twitter, ku Facebook, jona Instagram nenge namba 0757 117 tudemunate enchatuli nani weni nwagi musawo.
Mwasuze Mutia was brought to you by
Just add the Radiant Hair Polisher before styling and finish your magical look with the Radiant Olive Sheen Spray. Your big day is definitely on. Radiant. Feel yourself.
Your life and your health are too important to be risked with a person who does not love you enough to want to protect you.
Finance Trust Bank introduces the Women's Choice products, exceptional financial solutions coupled with high interest on savings and low interest on loans to meet her unique needs.
Finance Trust Bank, putting women first.
NTV, turning on your world.
Be it
Beauty Tips is brought to you by
Now with micro droplets of Vaseline jelly. Vaseline lotion deeply moisturizes dry skin and keeps skin smooth and restored for 3 times longer. That's the healing power of Vaseline.
NTV is giving you an opportunity to get discovered. Be the next big screen star. Are you an actor or an actress or have dreams to become one? Well, here is the biggest chance to fulfill that dream. Take a picture of yourself and tell us what makes you stand out. Then #DiscoverMe on any of our social media pages. We are watching and we want to discover you.
Wanna make some cash? Just dial *185#.
Amanya gange bampita Mulika Sharif nga nsomera Makerere University mwaka gwa 2 nga nkola software engineering. Njodda amajao olunaku luno olwaleero naye nga mbadde nga neeyambisa Airtel Money nga ngula airtime ne data oluusi n'okusindikirako mikwano gyange obw'olumu.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Who's there? Huh? How'd this get here? Oh!